Chen Xiao was just an ordinary guy who died in the apocalypse in his past life. But heaven gave him a chance to reincarnate. The moment he woke up, Chen Xiao began frantically borrowing money from everywhere, gathering funds to build his very own empire. Right now, it is May 2030. Right now, he is standing inside the offices of Yang Fan Management, a fancy-sounding name for a ruthless loan shark front. The man running this place is Zhang Yang, the powerful underworld boss. Kid, do you have any idea what borrowing 5 million actually means? My interest rate is incredibly high, Zhang Yang asks, puffing on a cigarette. Sitting right across from him, Chen Xiao is pretending to tremble like a leaf. I know, brother Zhang. As long as you lend me the money, you can charge a little extra interest. Zhang Yang agrees, setting the interest rate at 40%. He lends Chen Xiao 5 million now, but in 6 months, Chen Xiao must repay 7 million. First, he has to sign a 7 million IOY and provide collateral. Prepared for this, Chen Xiao hands over his property deed. Zhang Yang's eyes light up with greed upon seeing it, though he immediately pretends to look disappointed. Well, this house is pretty old. It is probably only worth about 300,000 to 400,000. Mr. Chen, you cannot get 5 million with just this house. I guess we do not have a deal. In reality, Chen Xiao's apartment is over 140 square meters. Using it as collateral for a loan shark like this makes Zhang Yang instantly believe that Chen Xiao is a complete idiot. Hearing that the deal might fall through, Chen Xiao quickly dives back into his act, frantically pleading for help. Please, brother Zhang, help me out. Even 4 million is fine. A fortune teller told me I am on a massive winning streak. I will multiply it and pay you back. Seeing a young kid already hopelessly addicted to gambling, Zhang Yang secretly looks down on him. At the same time, he is absolutely thrilled to have caught such a fat sheep. He squeezes him hard, claiming the absolute maximum he can offer is 3.5 million, or else he loses money. Unbelievably, Chen Xiao is overjoyed and nods instantly. Yes, thank you, brother Zhang. I will pay you back quickly. Since you say so, repay me 4.9 million in 3 months. If you do not have the money, I will take the house. If there are no issues, sign the papers. The money will arrive in 3 days. No problem, Chen Xiao replies. But I do have one condition. Hearing a helpless debtor trying to negotiate, Zhang Yang's eyes gleam with pure amusement. 10 minutes later, Chen Xiao casually walks out of the loan shark's office. Mission accomplished. The money hit his account in a flash. Zhang Yang thought he was playing a fool, but Chen Xiao was the real mastermind here. Only now does a highly devious smile appear on his face. After all, the apocalypse strikes in just 1 month. Who in their right mind is going to work themselves to death to repay a useless loan? In his past life, a horrific disaster struck Earth, causing the entire ecosystem of this green planet to mutate violently. Intense solar radiation pushed global temperatures to 50 degrees Celsius. Humanity entered a terrifying apocalyptic era of blistering, extreme heat that lasted for 30. While Chen Xiao is busy recalling those past horrors, Zhang Yang is holding the loan agreement, grinning from ear to ear. He cannot believe this desperate gambler. What a mindless gambler, Zhang Yang mutters, completely satisfied. Boss, his house is worth over 4 million, but we squeezed him to 3 million and he agreed so easily. Could this be a scam? His underling asks, sounding highly skeptical, but Zhang Yang is fully confident. He has dealt with countless gamblers who would gladly sell their wives and children for cash, let alone a house. Because of this, he is absolutely certain Chen Xiao is no different. Zhang Yang is even cruel enough to have his men set a trap at the casino to ruin him completely. He wants to take his house, and then harvest and sell his organs. Meanwhile, Chen Xiao is walking home, staring happily at his bank balance. The more he looks at it, the more hilarious it gets. Idiots. I am the guy who cleared out every single loan shark in Luo City in just 1 day. You think I care about interest? Once the money is mine, do not even dream of getting it back. Now, about that past apocalypse. Back then, the land dried up, plants withered, creatures mutated, order collapsed, and basic survival supplies became incredibly scarce. Humans resorted to extreme, horrific measures just for a tiny scrap of food. Having resources meant holding ultimate power and unmatched wealth. Whether they were billionaires with mountains of cash or legendary superstars, everyone had to crawl and beg on their knees just for a single hot dog or a cup of water. Otherwise, they were left wandering the streets, waiting for the Grim Reaper to take them away. But Chen Xiao is a reincarnated survivor, and he still has 1 month before the disaster strikes. That is why he is frantically taking out these massive loans to hoard supplies. feeling incredibly satisfied. His thoughts are cut short by a noisy street stall. What is going on? Oh, it is that legendary, ridiculously overpriced ice cream brand, rumored to cost more than luxury designer goods. Looking at it only makes Chen Xiao even angrier. In his past life, Chen Xiao was too stingy to buy anything for himself, yet he constantly treated his toxic ex-girlfriend, Lu Wanqing, to this exact luxury ice cream. Looking back, wasting such premium treats on her felt worse than feeding a dog. No, the thought hurt too much. Chen Xiao decided it was time to finally treat himself instead. With that in mind, Chen Xiao rushed straight to the counter. He confidently declared, "Hello. Please give me 10 orders of every single ice cream flavor you have here. Thank you." The two young women who were already waiting in line were completely stunned by his sudden, outrageous order. Even the sales clerk was left utterly speechless, because this luxury ice cream was incredibly expensive, and Chen Xiao did not look like a wealthy guy at all. "Dear customer, are you actually being serious?" she asked skeptically. "We only sell premium items, so 10 of each flavor would easily total over 20,000 yuan. Are you absolutely sure about this?" Before Chen Xiao could even answer, a random, nosy girl walking past decided to butt in and answer on his behalf. "Please, look at him. He looks dirt poor. If he actually pays for that, I will kneel down and bow to him right here in public." Chen Xiao did not even know this stranger, but since she insisted on begging to kneel, he was more than happy to slap her with cash. "Gorgeous, are you serious about that? How could a broke loser like you make me kneel?" she sneered. "What kind of nobody are you to come in here and show off?" she snapped back arrogantly. Chen Xiao figured her brain was broken. He had given her an easy way out, but she refused it. Well, now those knees were hitting the floor. Not even God himself could save her. Turning back to the cashier, Chen Xiao raised his voice to make his order official. "Pack up all the ice cream in this store. I am buying everything you have." He immediately shoved his phone screen right into her face, displaying an incredible bank balance of over 20 million yuan. Having never seen so many zeros in her life, the clerk panicked and frantically called her manager to handle the situation. Seconds later, the manager, a man named Fei Qi, rushed out to greet them. Chen Xiao calmly repeated his massive order. "Manager Fei, calculate the total for every single item here. You can close shop early today." "Right away, Master Chen. Please give me just one moment." Fei Qi nodded eagerly and grabbed his tablet to calculate the total, absolutely thrilled about this massive windfall. With a single casual remark, Chen Xiao had just covered their entire monthly sales quota. This high-end ice cream was normally a luxury few could afford. Only a handful of customers bought anything daily, while most just browsed out of curiosity. Since Chen Xiao insisted on buying out the store, the display stock alone came to 70,000 yuan. Adding the warehouse stock pushed the total over 1 million yuan. Hearing this, Chen Xiao did not even blink. Taking it all meant he would have endless cold treats during the upcoming heat apocalypse. He could relax at home eating ice cream. "Manager Fei, I will transfer a 30,000 yuan deposit right now. Deliver everything to this address." Turning to the small crowd of girls watching him, he flashed a smile. "Ladies, pick whatever you want from the menu today. It is all on my tab." With those words, Chen Xiao instantly became the absolute hero of the entire room. Of course, his generous offer did not apply to the obnoxious girl who had tried to humiliate him earlier. Turning back to her, Chen Xiao's friendly smile vanished. "I believe I am still waiting for you to drop and kowtow." Terrified that she had offended an incredibly wealthy young master, the girl broke down in tears and actually fell to her knees to bow. "Seriously? Why did you have to show off in the first place?" Chen Xiao muttered, grabbing a few bars before heading out. Tasting this high-end ice cream for the first time, he found it absolutely incredible. As he walked, Chen Xiao checked on his spatial pocket dimension. This supernatural power was the second major gift he received alongside his miraculous rebirth. It was an infinite inventory that preserved anything placed inside in its perfect, original state. That meant his massive haul of ice cream would never melt. Finishing his treat, Chen Xiao easily stored the remaining bags of ice cream safely inside his dimensional storage. He muttered in disbelief that his special ability had regressed with him. Normally, powers like this only awakened long after the apocalypse had devastated the Earth. Though he did not understand why it happened, this would be his ultimate trump card. Preparing for the end times, Chen Xiao needed a secure bunker, heavy-duty refrigeration, weapons, and power supplies. He had a massive to-do list. Just then, his phone suddenly rang. Glancing down at the caller ID, his expression instantly soured. The screen showed the absolute last person he wanted to deal with, Lu Wanqing. Talk about terrible luck. She had entered Chen Xiao's life right after his parents passed away, acting like a caring savior. He had been young and foolish enough to think she was his guiding light. In reality, she was a bottomless pit who only cared about the modest inheritance his parents had left him. She slowly drained Chen Xiao's hard-earned savings down to the very last cent. Eventually, she had even pressured him to sell his family's ancestral estate just to buy her a luxury apartment in the city center. But this woman wasn't just a gold digger, she was pure evil. When the apocalypse struck, Chen Xiao did absolutely everything to keep her safe and sound. But what did Lu Wanqing do? Just to cling to a stronger man, she sold him out like a dog. Young master, this is the guy I told you about. Weren't you looking for special materials? He fits your requirements perfectly. Chen Xiao still vividly remembered every cruel word Lu Wanqing had said to that wealthy man. Meanwhile, he was pinned to the floor by those thugs, suffering ultimate humiliation. Driven by Lu Wanqing's malice, he ultimately died without even a whole body left. After his rebirth, Chen Xiao was so busy that he temporarily forgot about this toxic woman. But now that she had walked right into his trap, wasn't it time to settle this debt once and for all? At that moment, Lu Wanqing was relaxing at a luxury hotel, fresh out of the shower looking quite seductive. As soon as Chen Xiao picked up and asked what she wanted, she began putting on a whiny, coquettish act. I accidentally lost my favorite gold necklace while hanging out with friends, and my heart is just breaking. What should I do now? What can we even do? Of course, I will buy my baby another one. Actually, one is not enough. Let us buy 10 so you can rotate them. Chen Xiao replied with a wicked smirk he could barely hide. Hearing this, Lu Wanqing thought she was dreaming and blurted out, "Really? Since when did you become so generous?" "Well, I got lucky investing in cryptocurrency recently and made a nice profit. Since I made money, I must spend it on my baby, right?" Chen Xiao fabricated a quick, random excuse on the spot. But this did not fully ease her suspicion. Crypto? Chen Xiao? You did not get mixed up in some shady scam, did you? That stuff is super dangerous. Whether it is a scam or not, you will know once you see if I profit on my next trade. Playing small is boring. This time, I am going big. I plan to borrow some capital to invest even more, but this loan needs a guarantor. Baby, help me out, and I will give you 5% of the loan as a reward. Lu Wanqing was extremely materialistic. Facing the sweet trap Chen Xiao had laid out, she was bound to fall for it easily. While she hesitated, the cranky voice of an older man echoed from inside the room, demanding, "What is taking you so long? Why is your shower taking forever?" "Darling, I am coming right out. Just wait a second." She suppressed her disgust and coaxed him. Indeed, even though she was with Chen Xiao and constantly drained his money, she still sold herself to earn some dirty cash on the side. Naturally, she hated this work. Just thinking about serving that old man all night for only $5,000 disgusted her. Meanwhile, just signing her name once for Chen Xiao would bag her $50,000. The difference was massive. She also knew Chen Xiao was a coward who would never dare trick her, so she quickly made up her mind. The call disconnected, and the cold smile in Chen Xiao's eyes grew even more sinister as a thought crossed his mind. Lu Wanqing, I will be waiting. Putting her aside for now, it was time for him to build his ultimate fortress. Chen Xiao hired a highly reputable construction crew, demanding they transform his home into an impenetrable fortress within one single month. For the windows, he specified multi-layered bulletproof glass reinforced with concealed steel security grates. The walls had to be reinforced as bulletproof barriers 3 meters thick, strong enough to withstand a magnitude 8 earthquake, while the entire roof would be covered in solar panels, backed by an independent generator system to secure constant power, along with an advanced air filtration system to block toxic gases from entering. He also required a fully autonomous survival ecosystem, featuring a 72-hour oxygen supply, complete with blast-proof doors, and a biometric access control system paired with a dual-layer mechanical locking mechanism. In short, within 1 month, this old apartment had to become a disaster-proof fortress with state-of-the-art life support. The head contractor, after listening to all these bizarre demands, immediately concluded that this kid was completely delusional, likely suffering from paranoia after watching far too many sci-fi movies about the end of the world. Seeing his jaw drop in utter disbelief, Chen Xiao could not help but speak up. "What is wrong? Can you not handle it? I remember your resume clearly stating you are a defensive design master who built high-end shelters for top billionaires." "Well, Mr. Chen, your requests are indeed highly specialized and premium, but the budget might be an issue." The man responded awkwardly, thinking to himself that this was just another rich kid brainwashed by doomsday theories. What a waste of money. But then, Chen Xiao thrust his bank balance right in front of him. He calmly stated he would put down a deposit of $1 million, letting the man name his price for the rest. This reckless spending absolutely blew the contractor's mind. Holy crap, I hit the jackpot with a rich fool. After this job, I can finally retire wealthy. Zhang Yang smugly thought he'd snagged himself a fat sheep. Little did he know, he was the prey, and Chen Xiao was the ultimate predator. Since he played the part of a big spender, Chen Xiao demanded that every single material and construction detail be top tier, strictly inspected, and up to the absolute highest standards. In that case, I have absolutely no more doubts about this deal. Leave it to me, Mr. Chen. I guarantee your new fortress will be absolutely indestructible. The two shake hands amicably, but honestly, both of them are hiding their own dark agendas. That contractor wants to bleed Chen Xiao dry, but our main character already saw right through him. Little does he know, the moment construction ends, the apocalypse begins. Even if the guy wants to collect the rest of the cash, good luck finding him. With the fortress secured, it is time to stockpile. Food and medicine are easy, but weapons? Not so much. And in the apocalypse, things get brutal fast. The real threat is never the natural disasters, it is the total breakdown of humanity. Sure, basic melee weapons are easily found at any local hardware store, but finding actual firearms capable of lethal, long-range defense is a whole different story. This dilemma leaves Chen Xiao incredibly frustrated, until he finally tracks down an underground dealer, promising top-tier gear and absolute discretion. The dealer sends a private address, scheduling a shady meeting for 8 p.m. sharp. Chen Xiao arrives on time, but can't help feeling skeptical. What kind of arms dealer sets up a meeting in such a crowded public area? Suddenly, chaos erupts. A group of angry men burst out of an alley, relentlessly chasing down a young woman. Before Chen Xiao can even register what is happening, she runs up and hides behind him, desperately begging for her life. The thugs close in, shouting threats. Keep running, you little cheat. Nobody scams on my turf and gets away with it. Naturally, Chen Xiao has no interest in getting involved in other people's messy drama, but taking a closer look, he realizes the girl is none other than Li Yu. Yu was the legendary high school goddess, the ultimate crush of every guy back then. As an old classmate, he has no idea how she ended up in this terrible mess. The thugs grab her, violently pulling Yu's hair, while demanding she fork over the money right now, or suffer the consequences. Boss, why waste your breath? If she cannot pay up, we can always find other ways for her to settle the debt. Watching his former high school goddess get degraded by these worthless thugs, Chen Xiao decides he cannot stand by and watch. Let her go. His cold shout instantly enrages the gang. Who does this kid think he is, trying to play hero? You want to play the hero? Then I will break you first. The boss of the gang is the first to charge, throwing a heavy punch straight at Chen Xiao's face. But facing this aggressive attack, our main character does not even flinch, staying completely calm as he prepares his counter. Moving with insane reflexes, Chen Xiao dodges the blow, grabs the thug's wrist, and twists it with brutal force. Then, he slams the guy onto the concrete, leaving the onlookers completely stunned. Right as his opponent hits the ground, Chen Xiao spots a glowing status window materialize right before his eyes. The screen reads, strong negative emotions detected, fear, pain, and anger. The negative emotion harvest system has now been successfully activated. Stretching his wrist, he is genuinely surprised, since this cheat system never unlocked in his past life. Yet, after regression, here it is. But he cannot focus on this new cheat just yet. His sudden counterattack has completely enraged the remaining thugs. They begin aggressively tearing at Yu's clothes. Chen Xiao, help me. Her desperate voice rings out in pure terror. But before he can even make a move, a heavy brick comes flying out of nowhere. It hits the thug holding Yu square in the face with brutal force, allowing her to break free. The rest of the gang is caught off guard as a brand new challenger steps into the fray, casually mocking them for bullying a helpless girl. Aren't you guys embarrassed? The brick thrower suddenly lands right beside Chen Xiao and Yu. This newcomer clearly does not fear anyone. Infuriated by this second challenger, the thugs pull out their weapons, ready to settle this in a bloody fight. Chen Xiao and this mysterious stranger are reluctantly dragged into a massive street brawl, but both of them possess incredible fighting skills and quickly seize control. The thugs get absolutely thrashed, and in no time at all, the chaotic battle is officially decided. Get lost. Chen Xiao glares coldly at the retreating thugs, spitting out a single, freezing word. The system chimes. notifying him that he has successfully collected points from their fear, panic, pain, and utter humiliation. With his negative emotion points passing 10 for the first time, Chen Xiao unlocks the ability to expand his pocket dimension. The more negative emotions he harvests from others, the stronger he will ultimately become. He still has no idea where this cheat system came from, but harvesting negative emotions is turning out to be quite fun. Once the cowards flee, Chen Xiao helps Yu back to her feet. "I never expected to run into you here. Thank you so much," she says. Liu clutches his hand, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Are you hurt anywhere?" he asks gently. He carefully checks on her and helps adjust her torn clothing. "Thank you. I am incredibly grateful, but I have to run," she says before leaving. Du mutters in confusion, and Chen Xiao makes no effort to stop her. Then the guy from earlier steps up and says, "Hey brother, you totally pulled off that hero, saving the beauty trope back there. I am Mu Kang, and you must be Chen Xiao, right?" Turns out, he is the exact guy our main character was supposed to meet tonight to buy weapons. Talk about a crazy coincidence. Meeting your client right in the middle of a street fight. Mu Kang is absolutely thrilled, rambling endlessly about how they are practically soulmates destined to meet. But instead of matching his high energy, Chen Xiao decides to hit him with a cold splash of harsh reality. "You are a total idiot." Mu Kang completely freezes, having no clue why he is being insulted. He has absolutely no idea that Chen Xiao only said that to farm some easy negative emotions out of him. Once he gets what he wants, Chen Xiao immediately offers a peace handshake. Luckily, Mu Kang is not the type to hold a grudge. "My bad, brother, do not take it personally. I was just joking to break the ice. But damn, you really had me going there for a second with that heavy attitude. Alright then, follow me." Our main character follows him straight to a small, secluded house. Once inside, Mu Kang pulls out a pistol, boasting that it is solid Russian make, highly durable and reliable. The only catch is that ammo is scarce, so he must ration it. Chen Xiao picks up the gun, inspects it like a pro, and feels pretty satisfied. Seeing his smooth handling, Mu Kang figures he has plenty of experience with firearms. So, he generously offers to give him this gun for free, just to seal their new. But who knew Chen Xiao could be so shameless? After getting a free gun, he actually asks if they can throw in a silencer and a whole box of ammo. "Are you serious? I am giving you a special friendship discount here." "Do you even understand friendship?" Mu Kang screams internally. Even if the price of this doubled on the black market, people would still fight to buy it. Yet this guy still expects a warranty and extra freebies, like he is shopping for cheap home electronics. Why does he not just rob me outright? These thoughts drive Mu Kang absolutely crazy. But just as he is about to blow up, Chen Xiao has already successfully milked him for all the negative energy he needs. So, before Mu Kang can explode, our protagonist immediately puts out the fire. "Hey brother, if you do not have it, no worries. I was just joking around. Let us stick to your price. I will transfer the money right away." Seeing the cash, Mu Kang forces his rising anger right back down. Now that Chen Xiao has secured a weapon, it is time to pay a little visit to Lu Wanqing. The whole goal of this meeting is to manipulate her into signing as the guarantor for his massive new debt. At first, Wanqing is hesitant, so she keeps asking him over and over, saying, "Chen Xiao, are you absolutely sure there is no risk in this? Babe, it is just a formality. I love you too much to ever put you in harm's way." Chen Xiao sweet talks her with smooth words, and Wanqing feels completely satisfied and smug. After all, Chen Xiao was always so obsessed with her that he almost sold his own blood just to buy her designer bags. How could someone like that ever lie to her? So, completely swayed by his sweet words, she accompanies him to meet Zhang Yang once again. Now, Zhang Yang knows exactly what kind of game our guy is playing, but he stays quiet, silently mocking her stupidity. One simple signature, and this massive debt will officially become hers alone. He is already planning how he will force her to use her own body to pay it off once she defaults on the loan. Watching from behind, Chen Xiao is absolutely thrilled, thinking to himself, "Sign it, sign away your freedom on that contract. Your own greed will pay off the final installment for my safe room. This is going smoother than expected. Thank you, Lu Wanqing." Not long after, Chen Xiao's ultimate doomsday fortress is fully completed. He is exceptionally pleased with the final high-quality construction. Shortly after he moves into his highly secured safe room, the television suddenly starts broadcasting urgent news about unprecedented, massive levels of extreme solar radiation. The entire globe is facing extreme weather and prolonged heat waves, with many regions set to completely shatter historic temperature records. The public is urged to take immediate precautions, But Chen Xiao knows deep down that ordinary safety measures will be up. Only he, a regressed survivor who has meticulously prepared absolutely everything, can safely make it through this upcoming brutal apocalypse. Chen Xiao repeatedly polishes the handgun he bought from Mu Kang until the metal gleams under the light. Looking out the window, the sun appears massive and closer than ever, looking as if it might swallow the entire Earth whole. Finally, the day has arrived. Over the next few days, news about the historic heatwave completely floods the television screens. Reports state that due to the intense impact of the solar storm, the Earth's ionosphere is now experiencing massive, severe disruptions. Extreme, unbearable heat waves are breaking out all across the globe, with daytime temperatures expected to reach as high as 45 degrees Celsius. Even though Chen Xiao experienced this horror before, the rapidly rising heat still makes him deeply and he knows this is only the beginning. Outside, things are starting to fall apart, and people are crying out in agony. Greedy merchants are taking advantage of the crisis to skyrocket prices, and the little grocery store downstairs is absolutely no exception. Oh my lord, neighbors, this weather is literally going to kill us all. Word on the street is temperatures are rising next week, supplies are drying up, and electricity and water are getting rationed. If you do not stock up now, you will not even have bottled water left to drink. Hurry up, this is my very last batch. The shopkeeper blared this over his megaphone, terrified that people might not realize how desperately he wanted their cash. Before long, 2 girls drenched in sweat arrived. They complained his watermelons were way too expensive and begged for a small discount. But this perverted shopkeeper's eyes lit up the moment he saw their perfect, curvy figures. His voice turned sweet as honey. This melon is sugary sweet. Want me to slice some for a taste? Buy 2, and I will give you 20% off plus free tissues. If tonight gets too hot, come chill in my air conditioning. Feeling creeped out by how he looked ready to devour them, the girls felt extremely uncomfortable. No thanks, we will just take one. Come on, buy some more to stock up. In this crazy heat, who knows if there will even be any left tomorrow? He leaned in close to sweet-talk the young girls. Yet, the moment an old man with a cane passed by and asked for a tiny discount on bottled water, his attitude completely flipped. He barked, "This is a small business. No bargaining." Just then, Chen Xiao walked by the grocery store. He absolutely despised this shopkeeper. His name was Li Dafu, and he had bullied Chen Xiao constantly in his past life. One time, Chen Xiao saw some items from the shop fall to the ground. He wanted to help put them back, but Dafu grabbed him by the collar, loudly accusing him. "You are a thief." Chen Xiao tried his best to explain back then, but he could not outtalk Dafu. Soon, a crowd gathered around, filming and snapping photos. Everyone labeled him a cheap thief. Even after being reborn, Chen Xiao could never forget that deep humiliation. That memory drove him straight into Dafu's shop. Glancing around, Chen Xiao saw that a bag of potato chips was priced at 50 yuan. He found it hilarious. "Boss Li, are these potato chips made of solid gold or something? Or do they cure heat stroke? Otherwise, why are they so insanely expensive?" Dafu was busy organizing shelves in the back. Just hearing Chen Xiao's voice filled him with pure annoyance, immediately netting Chen Xiao 3 negative emotion points. Without saying a word, Dafu marched over, snatched the snack bag right out of Chen Xiao's hands, and began cursing. "Get lost. If you cannot afford it, do not touch. If you break it, can you pay?" Looking at his rude behavior, he was clearly fuming, but that was perfect. Chen Xiao stood to gain even more from this. Determined to stoke his anger further, Chen Xiao provoked him. "Boss Li, hoarding all these treasures, do you sleep well at night? Better watch out, or they might get stolen." Seeing Chen Xiao's incredibly smug face, Dafu turned red with rage but could only mutter curses. "Who are you cursing? Believe me, I will end you. You lunatic. Has this extreme heat driven you completely insane? Calm down, Boss Li. Lately, have you been suffering from insomnia, bad dreams, aching back, and night sweats? Feeling exhausted?" Chen Xiao suddenly asked. Li Dafu froze mid-motion, a sudden wave of panic washing over him. Well, yes, he did. Could his warehouse actually have terrible feng shui? Seizing the opportunity, Chen Xiao began his smooth-talking act. "Oh, I knew it. The space between your eyebrows is dark, and your eyes are lifeless. This is classic bad luck." Dafu was spun in circles by his words, getting absolutely zero useful advice in the end. He lunged forward to beat Chen Xiao up, but the boy dodged nimbly. "You are the fraud. Your whole family is a fraud. Get out," he hissed. "Take care of your health, Boss Li. Getting angry harms the body, especially for you. If you are not careful, you might live too long." Saying this, Chen Xiao grabbed a lollipop from the shelf, tossed some spare change on the counter, and walked away. Making Dafu lose his temper was exactly what Chen Xiao had planned. Ever since unlocking the negative emotion system, Chen Xiao realized he had a real knack for driving people absolutely insane. Late that night, as everyone slept, the scorching streets were completely deserted. Not a single soul in sight. Yet Chen Xiao showed up right outside Li Dafu's locked grocery store. In his past life, he had endured their cruel bullying and manipulation. This time, he was getting his payback with interest. So, of course, he was not letting that fat guy off the hook. Luckily, his system had just notified him that he could expand his storage inventory. This meant those negative emotion points Dafu provided earlier would finally go to use. Spending 20 points, Chen Xiao successfully expanded his storage space by 200 cubic meters. And now, the real show finally begins. Early the next morning, Dafu strolled toward his store with his hands in his pockets, whistling cheerfully. However, even from the outside, he immediately noticed that something felt deeply off. The moment he unlocked the door and stepped inside, Li Dafu screamed in absolute despair. Every single item on his shelves yesterday had completely vanished overnight. Who did this? Damn it! Who did this? Li Dafu clutched his head and screamed in agony, his overwhelming negative emotions instantly transforming into 66 system points for Chen Xiao. Meanwhile, Chen Xiao was casually sipping an ice-cold can of Coke, feeling absolutely relaxed and refreshed. Dafu rushed through his store, but every single shelf had been completely wiped clean. His feelings were a messy mix of rage and utter helplessness. With absolutely nothing left to do, the broken shopkeeper collapsed to the floor and wept loudly. The drama quickly drew a crowd of curious onlookers. Wait, did he really lose his entire inventory overnight? Did he stage this break-in himself to hike up prices later? With the store empty, how are we supposed to survive now? Word on the street is someone saw a dark figure creep inside last night. Could it be a ghost? Hearing the word ghost sent shivers down Dafu's spine. His recent price gouging was highly unethical, so his guilty conscience was already eating him alive. Dafu's panic attacks were spiraling completely out of control. While Chen Xiao stood nearby, casually watching his system points roll in, he smirked, highly impressed by Li Dafu's consistent emotional breakdowns. But Chen Xiao wanted more. He decided to turn up the heat and give the greedy fat man another little push. He popped a crispy potato chip into his mouth and loudly exclaimed, making sure everyone could hear, "Wow, this is so incredibly delicious." Instantly, all eyes turned to him, including Li Dafu's furious gaze. Glancing at the snack bag in the boy's hand, Dafu instantly recognized his own stock. His rage boiled over in a split second. Yesterday's tense meeting and Chen Xiao's warning words immediately flashed back into the shopkeeper's mind. "Mr. Li, are these chips made of gold or what? Why on earth are they so expensive? Hoarding all these treasures? Can you even sleep at night? You'd better watch out for thieves." Losing his mind with anger, Dafu lunged forward, grabbed Chen Xiao, and demanded to know where those chips came from. He immediately concluded that this kid was the thief, shamelessly flaunting his stolen loot in broad daylight. Chen Xiao's inner actor immediately woke up. He put on a deeply offended face and warned him against getting physical. "Do you have any actual proof that I stole this?" Throwing wild accusations around has serious consequences. His tone was pure provocation, and his smug smile was incredibly punchable. But then again, he had a point. "Your shop is completely barren today. There isn't a single bag of chips left in sight. Want me to share the rest with you?" Furious, Dafu clenched his fists as veins throbbed on his forehead. In truth, he had no idea if the young man was actually the culprit, but he figured that even if the kid was innocent, he could still shake him down today to recover some of his massive financial losses. "You cursed my shop yesterday. Now everything is gone. And here you are casually snacking. If you didn't steal it, who did?" As the shopkeeper threw these wild accusations, Chen Xiao's system flooded him with non-stop points. These desperate, baseless claims were so full of holes they did absolutely zero. "Are your chips the only ones in the whole city? Let the crowd here decide who is telling the truth. You lost your own stock, and now you're trying to frame me?" Only then did Dafu realize that the surrounding neighbors were already recording his aggressive physical assault on their phones. But unlike the events of his past life, absolutely nobody stood up for him. The crowd agreed that chips are sold everywhere. Finding himself completely isolated with no local support, Dafu grew increasingly flustered. He couldn't grasp why the kid was suddenly acting so tough. Having lost the argument, the desperate shopkeeper still refused to let go. Playing right into his hands, Chen Xiao offered a bet, inviting Dafu to search his apartment. "If you find any of your stolen stock inside, I will personally pay you back tenfold. But if you find nothing, that backup generator at your back door belongs to me." Dafu greedily agreed, determined to see how long the kid could keep up this act. Dafu had swallowed the bait hook, line, and sinker. Chen Xiao secretly celebrated, already knowing that generator was practically his. Dafu immediately dragged Chen Xiao toward his apartment, with the nosy crowd eagerly tagging along as witnesses. However, the moment they stepped inside, the shopkeeper was completely shell-shocked by the pure luxury of the apartment. Is Chen Xiao actually loaded? He was hiding his wealth this whole time? Why would someone this rich steal from a corner store? The ridiculous level of wealth left Dafu standing there, with his jaw dropped. He saw massive crystal chandeliers, designer suits, a fridge stocked with gourmet food, and stacks of gold bars in the safe. He searched absolutely everywhere, but found zero stolen goods. Chen Xiao smirked, asking if he had searched enough. Or do you want to rip up my marble floorboards to satisfy your curiosity? After that sharp remark, even the most unreasonable shopkeeper was left completely speechless. So he immediately turned tail and ran, saying, "No need, I'll just check another house." Chen Xiao collected 6 points of confusion from him, but that was far from enough to satisfy him. So before Li Dafu could even reach the door, Chen Xiao grabbed his collar and yanked him back. After all, they still had to settle the generator issue. Chen Xiao once again called on the onlookers to judge. After all, their previous agreement was witnessed by everyone standing right there. "What did you find, young man? Can't we just take a step back and let this go instead of making a huge scene?" Li Dafu timidly tried to negotiate with Chen Xiao, a pathetic display that actually made the young man laugh out loud. "Take a step back? When you were framing me? Why didn't you think about taking a step back?" The neighbors backed Chen Xiao completely. Dong Long even chimed in, saying a dishonest liar, like Li Dafu, deserved to have his entire shop cleaned out by thieves. Backed into a corner and losing his patience, the man tried to launch a sneak attack on Chen Xiao, but Chen Xiao stopped the punch cold. Snatching the man's wrist, Chen Xiao forcefully twisted it right back. Li Dafu collapsed to the floor in agony, screaming his head off. This intense pain raked in 73 negative emotion points for Chen Xiao. Li Dafu was turning out to be a goldmine of points lately. Unable to bear the pain any longer, he finally surrendered. "Stop twisting. I'll give it to you." Chen Xiao smirked coldly. "Then hurry up. Once the midday heat kicks in, you won't survive outdoors." Chen Xiao warned him with a bone-chilling tone. According to his memory, power grid rationing would begin in just a few days. He couldn't wait to see how this miserable fat bastard would survive without electricity. Overwhelmed by pain, humiliation, and terror, Li Dafu practically farmed negative emotion points for Chen Xiao with every passing second. This was highly satisfying. Just as the man went back to fetch the generator, Chen Xiao felt his phone buzz in his pocket. It was Lu Wanqing calling from the other end, her voice dripping with sheer panic. "Chen Xiao, some sketchy guys have been tailing me lately, and they look like loan sharks. Didn't you say I only had to sign my name once? Why are they following me?" Lu Wanqing demanded over the video call, furious and looking for answers. "Tell me the truth. Why are the Dahai, babe? Why do you never trust me? I have sacrificed so much for you and literally handed you my entire heart. So how could I ever lie? Hearing you say that really breaks my heart." Meanwhile, Chen Xiao's thoughts drifted to Zheng Yang as he silently cursed under his breath. Those impatient psychos from the Dahai gang were moving way faster than he had ever anticipated. Taking advantage of her panic, he decided to fish for info. "Wait, you said they tailed you. Do they actually know where you live yet? What did they say to you?" Lu Wanqing answered instantly. "They still don't know my place. I took a few sketchy alleyways to lose them." "What the hell is going on? I'm warning you, don't play games with me." Chen Xiao quickly put on his best innocent voice. "Don't overthink it, babe. You probably just mistook them for someone else." A quick cut later, Chen Xiao serves up a beautifully plated dish alongside a cold can of cola. On the screen, her jaw drops in absolute shock at the sight. It takes her a second to find her voice. Staring at the beautifully arranged dish, she blurts out, "Where on earth did you get all this luxury food?" Chen Xiao casually cracks open his cold can of soda and smirks. "Oh, this is nothing. I still have plenty of supplies left." This only fuels her curiosity as she gasps, "Wait, you have more?" Scene cut. She stares intensely at her screen, thinking, with this brutal heatwave dragging on, fresh food should only be available to the wealthy elite. Where did he get it? Did he actually hit the jackpot? On his end, Chen Xiao calmly sips his soda and delivers a relaxed sigh. Nothing beats a cold drink in this blistering heat. With that, he casually pops a fresh piece of salmon right into his mouth. Her eyes bulge at the sight. Salmon? She is practically drooling, hallucinating from hunger, as she mutters to herself, I want it so bad. A moment later, Chen Xiao asks, Babe, do you have enough food? She immediately plays the fragile victim card. Chen Xiao, I'm so scared all by myself. She deliberately spins a lie, pretending those thugs are closing in on her. Slowly reeling him in, Lu Wanqing suggests, Can I please stay at your place for a few days? Puffing on a cigarette, she tries to seduce him. I'll make it worth your while. She casually pulls up her shirt, flaunting her slim waist to hook him right in. Chen Xiao smirks triumphantly as he thinks to himself, hook, line, and sinker. Lu Wanqing, you really are incredibly cheap. Deciding to play along with her little scheme, he responds, It is going to get blazing hot later, making travel impossible. And besides, didn't you always say girls shouldn't give out their address? You were always so mysterious, never letting me visit. Send me your address, and I will come pick you up tonight. Lu Wanqing quickly scrambles for an excuse. Oh, that was in the past. This is an emergency. You are my boyfriend, so if you don't protect me, who will? Fine, send me your address. Chen Xiao sweetly coaxed her to stay put at home and wait for him, telling her absolutely not to wander off. Wanqing thought he fell for it, happily telling herself that a mindless simp is always a simp. Give him a little sweetness, and he wags his tail. Putting his phone down, Chen Xiao muttered to himself. Before, she acted so high and mighty, blocking him from even entering the gates. Now, just for some food, she eagerly handed over her exact door number. While lost in thought, a sudden knock on the door broke the silence. Outside, Aunt Wang pounded loudly and called out, telling Chen Xiao to open up. He did not rush, standing there in silence for a moment. When he finally opened it a few seconds later, Chen Xiao politely asked what Aunt Wang wanted. Pushing her way inside without an invitation, she complained that her air conditioner was broken and noted how wonderfully cool his apartment felt. She claimed the kids could not handle the heat, asking him to let them stay for a bit, since neighbors should help each other out. Instead, Chen Xiao slapped her right across the face and said, Aunt Wang, remember when my mother and I collected plastic bottles downstairs? You pointed right at us, calling us nothing but worthless trash. You even had security throw us out. So why do you suddenly care about me now? Memories flooded back as Chen Xiao recalled her screaming at his younger self and his mother, telling them to get lost and not ruin their upscale neighborhood. Back to reality. Aunt Wang grew furious, pointing a finger directly at his face and yelling that those events happened years ago. She loudly criticized Chen Xiao, demanding to know why he held such a petty grudge and accusing him of having no humanity left. Shrugging it off, he calmly replied that while he might lack humanity, he at least had a perfectly working air conditioner. With that, Chen Xiao slammed the door shut with a loud bang, leaving Aunt Wang outside to pound furiously on the wood, screaming horrible curses about his late parents and his lack of respect. Right then, the system dinged, announcing that it detected strong negative emotions nearby. Rage plus 18, rage plus 20. Chen Xiao stood by the door with a dark expression, not even bothering to give her a reply. After a moment, he pulled out a brand new SIM card and slotted it into his phone. Quickly scrolling through his contacts, Chen Xiao chose to call the Great Ocean Gang. Disguising his voice, he spoke directly into the receiver. Hey, I know Lu Wanqing's address and just sent it to you. She lives completely alone, so she is very easy to find. He stood silently, waiting for their response. Time ticked away, and the call eventually ended in absolute quiet. Morning arrived in a flash. Standing on his balcony, Chen Xiao muttered Lu Wanqing's name. Stepping forward, he steeled his resolve with a cold grin. The real show was about to start. That evening, across the dark city, life went on as usual. Admiring herself in the mirror, Wanqing whispered that she would soon be moving into Chen Xiao's cool, air-conditioned room. Moments later, she casually sat on her bed, a sweet fantasy taking shape in her mind. She imagined Chen Xiao kneeling at her feet with a gift, while she looked down on him with sheer pride. Only a carefree life like this is worthy of me, she thought, a massive smile of pure happiness spreading across her face. Soon, a sudden craving hit, and she clicked her lighter to spark up a cigarette. Suddenly, a loud crash shook the door, startling her. Wanqing quickly opened it, asking why he had arrived so early today. Secretly, she sneered, thinking he was truly an obedient, eager dog who came running. She felt perfectly relaxed at first, but the moment she got a clear look at her visitors, Her face went pale. Standing there was Zhang Yang and his two massive thugs. Wanqing immediately shrank back, stammering to know how on earth they had found her apartment. Slapping her hard, he barked that it was finally time for her to pay back what she owed the Great Ocean Gang. Wanqing dropped to her knees in sheer panic, claiming that Chen Xiao was the one who actually borrowed the money. He tricked me into signing. Go find him, she cried. Zhang Yang shoved the loan contract in her face, yelling that black and white did not lie, and she signed it. He then coldly ordered his men to tear the place apart and find anything of value. Ignoring her desperate screams to stop, the thugs smashed everything in sight as they searched the room. Stop searching, please. I will call Chen Xiao. He will come right now, so go deal with him instead. Before long, they recovered 3 high-end handbags and several valuable pearl necklaces, piling them onto the table before Zhang Yang. Watching her entire life, Wanqing's face turned completely pale. Grabbing a green bag, he raised his voice mockingly. This pocket change will not even cover a fraction of the interest. Zhang Yang sneered, before coldly adding that his boys did not sweat in the sun to leave empty-handed. Desperate, she had no choice but to beg. Stay back. Do not touch me. Chen Xiao has the money. She pushed all the blame onto him. He has tons of supplies, and he is coming to pick me up soon. Just wait for him and demand your money. But when she eagerly tries calling his number, she is only met with that familiar, cold automated message, saying the subscriber is currently unreachable. Refusing to give up, Wanqing dials again and again, but that frustrating automated operator response is the only thing that answers. Call after call, the exact same thing happens. Panic begins to set in, and she can only mutter to herself in absolute terror, "No, please answer." Unable to believe her eyes, she desperately asks how this is possible. Desperate to buy some time, Wanqing begs them with a look of pure panic on her face. Wait a second, everyone. He must be busy and didn't hear his phone. Let me try calling again. But Zhang Yang has zero patience. He snatches the phone, tosses it aside, and delivers a brutal reality check, calling her a complete idiot. That bastard completely sold her out. The moment he tricked her into signing, he never had any intention of actually paying the debt. Wanqing is in complete denial. As she tries to bolt, Zhang Yang brutally grabs her by the hair, making her scream in absolute agony. Screaming through the pain, she begs him to let her go, telling them to go after Chen Xiao instead. He is the one with everything they want. But Zhang Yang has zero mercy, dragging her by the hair without hesitation. Ignoring her piercing screams, Zhang Yang drags her into the bedroom and slams the door shut. And right at that moment, Chen Xiao finally answers, just in time for him to hear Wanqing's agonized cries over the phone as she desperately screams out his name. Chen Xiao listens to her begging for mercy. Cut to his room, where he is casually sipping red wine, enjoying the show. Feeling absolutely satisfied, Chen Xiao coldly thinks to himself, Wanqing, go ahead and feel the warm embrace of this apocalypse. Back at her apartment, having taken both her dignity and her money, Zhang Yang calmly gets dressed right in front of her. She is left curled up on the bed, completely naked and sobbing in absolute despair. Zhang Yang slammed his glass down to threaten her after taking a drink. Then, in a fit of rage, he grabbed her by the throat and growled. He demanded, "What kind of good stuff does Chen Xiao have? Spill it again." Wanqing sobbed, terrified, and confessed everything. Air conditioning, cold drinks, and tons of food. Since he had her cornered, she didn't dare tell a single lie. His place has literally everything. Zhang Yang, highly skeptical, narrowed his eyes and stared her down. Desperate, Wanqing kept urging him, "Just go find him. He's the one you guys should be targeting. I swear, I have absolutely nothing left." With that, he threw her onto the bed, thinking to himself that with all those supplies and AC, he'd hit the jackpot. He smirked at her, plotting his next move. Once his mind was made up, Zhang Yang turned around and barked a command to his men. "Let's move." He immediately dragged his crew out, leaving a bruised and humiliated Wanqing behind to bitterly curse Chen Xiao in her head. "Chen Xiao, you lied to me. You'll pay for this. You'll rot in hell." On the completely deserted street, an aggressive mob was marching straight toward Chen Xiao's building. They moved with absolute urgency, their steps far quicker and more menacing than normal. Leading them was Brother Zhang, guided by Aunt Wang, who kept ranting about how that absolute bastard Chen Xiao deserved everything coming to him. Right here, in his apartment, the AC is running 24/7. He has plenty of food, but is incredibly stingy. He wouldn't even share a single drop of water. Hearing this, Brother Zhang grinned and praised Aunt Wang. "Old lady, great job guiding us. Once we secure the goods, you'll get your fair share." Hearing that, her eyes lit up with greed. and she immediately began to fawn. "Oh my. Thank you, Brother Zhang. You're so generous. No wonder you're the big boss here." To make things worse, Aunt Wang was already picturing Chen Xiao on his knees, begging for his life with tears streaming down his face. "Aunt Wang, I was wrong. My place is your place now. You can stay for as long as you want." She gloated silently, wondering if he'd still act so smug. Guided by Aunt Wang, they just needed to cross the street to reach the spot. Standing on the street, Brother Zhang looked up at the high floor and muttered, "This kid's setup is actually pretty impressive." This group doesn't rush in, standing still to scout the area. After a moment, Wu Fei, eager to show off, yells out, "Brother Zhang, watch me smash this guy's door." But the second those words leave his mouth, he steps right into a trap. Suddenly, a massive surge of electricity shoots straight through him, making him scream in pure agony while his crew panics in shock. The moment Wu Fei collapses to the ground, Liu Bing and Zhao Da rush over to check on him. Liu Bing instantly snaps, calling him a useless idiot and asking why he is cramping up, while Zhao Da, running faster, reaches out to grab Wu Fei first. And just like that, he gets zapped too, screaming at the top of his lungs for help. This shocking sight immediately terrifies the rest of the group, freezing them in their tracks. A second later, a speaker pops out, leaving everyone completely baffled. Without making them wait, the speaker suddenly blares to life. "Wishing you good luck. Wishing you luck." And before they can even process it, the message is followed by a rain of electricity. "Luck brings joy and love. Luck is coming to us all. Welcome the good fortune, prosperity and success to the four corners of the world." Seeing his three guys get zapped, Zhang quickly pulls his foot back and screams in panic, "Is that electricity?" Just like that, the system detects his distress and drops a notification. "Strong negative emotion detected. Shock plus 45. Strong negative emotion detected. Panic plus 36. Strong negative emotion detected. Speechless plus 22. Meanwhile, Chen Xiao is chilling in his surveillance room, watching the security cameras on his laptop, and decides to mock them. "Hey guys, you have great luck, stepping right onto the defensive electric grid on your first try." Hearing his voice, Zhang snaps back furiously. "Chen Xiao, cut the crap. You owe us money, so pay up. That is how it works. Just pay us back, and we are even." Aunt Wang chimes in from the side. "Exactly. You have cash to renovate this place but none to pay debts? How did your parents raise you?" Chen Xiao does not bother replying, letting the tense silence drag on, leaving the entire group sweating in pure anxiety. Meanwhile, he casually kicks his feet up on the desk, holding an ice cream while staring at his laptop screen. After a moment, Chen Xiao starts doing the math. "Zhang, my apartment is worth 4 million. Subtracting your 3.5 million leaves you with plenty, right? And as for Lu Wenqing's debt, you should go find her instead. What does that have to do with me?" Hearing this, Zhang is so angry, his face freezes, completely speechless. Knowing he is no match for Chen Xiao, he can only curse silently in his head. "You bastard, in times like this, supplies are the only things that matter. Everything else is garbage." But just as he thinks this, Chen Xiao suddenly speaks up to offer some advice. "Zhang, wise people know when to adapt to the situation. While I am still in a good mood, let us settle this peacefully." A second later, Chen Xiao presses a button while delivering a threat. "Keep looking for trouble, and I will stop being so nice." Immediately after he presses the button, Wu Fei, Zhao Da, and Liu Bing are zapped again, screaming out in absolute agony. Getting continuously fried by electricity, they collectively beg their leader, "Boss, we cannot take this anymore." Right on cue, the system notifies him of strong negative emotions. Pain plus 63. Strong negative emotions detected. Despair plus 77. Zhang and his men are now completely frozen, with pure terror on their faces. In the end, he chooses to turn tail and run, but not without leaving a threat. "Chen Xiao, just you wait. The Dahai gang will never let this go." At that exact moment, the system measures Zhang's emotional state once again. Strong negative emotion detected. Anger plus 78. Left entirely on her own, Aunt Wang's face darkens with dread. To her, Chen Xiao's apartment now looks like the literal gates of hell. The next morning, the outdoor temperature hits a scorching 52 degrees Celsius, but with his indoor air conditioning running, Chen Xiao is feeling incredibly comfortable and relaxed. Next, he tunes in to watch today's emergency weather broadcast. Heat stroke deaths have recently surged in several regions, and citizens are strongly urged to stay indoors as much as possible. Right then, his phone suddenly vibrates. Chen Xiao unlocks it only to find a barrage of angry texts from Aunt Wang. "Chen Xiao, are you even human? You have food, drinks, and AC? Yet you just watch the elderly and kids bake to death? Right after that is a text from Da Fu calling him selfish and unfit to be a neighbor, followed by anonymous hate messages. In times of crisis, resources must be shared, or you are practically a murderer. We are boiling to death here. Have you no shame? Chen Xiao, get out here and explain yourself to everyone. Chen Xiao does not care at all, just casually scrolling past their whining. The system detects their collective rage and displays the incoming data. Strong negative emotions have been detected. Envy plus 99. Strong negative emotions detected. Anger plus 101. Total negative value exceeds 1,000. Calculating rewards. Now, Chen Xiao really knows how to push their buttons by flexing his massive food stockpile. Standing in front of his loaded pantry, he snaps a photo and posts it online. He also takes a shot of his fridge full of fresh fruit, adding a smug caption. That is right. I have plenty of supplies here. If anyone needs some, just let me know. Immediately, Su Xiao leaves a message. Me, please, share some with me, just a little. Even Aunt Wang quickly tones down her attitude. My dear Chen, bring some food over for me. My legs are bad. Da Fu chimes in next. First, carry 2 cases of water over to my place. Zhang Mian agrees. I want some too. But Chen Xiao shuts them down instantly. Look everyone, I do not run a charity. If you want supplies, trade something of equal value. Otherwise, do not bother asking. No freebies. Unable to take it, Da Fu flips and snaps. You selfish brat, hand over the food. We actually thought you were a good neighbor. Aunt Wang quickly joins the scolding. Everyone, look at his true colors. Leaving us to die. Karma will get him soon. You will die early. Another neighbor curses bitterly. Chen Xiao, even if we starve, we will make sure you never live in peace. He ignores them, sinking comfortably back into his sofa. A few seconds later, Chen Xiao receives a system notification. Negative emotion points hit 3,000. Skill upgraded to basic space rupture. This creates a minor tear in the air, slicing any object that enters a 3-meter range. He quickly pulls up his system screen, whispering his new skill. Space Slash. After pondering for a moment, Chen Xiao decides to test it on an apple. Boom! With one clean strike, the apple is effortlessly sliced right in half. Grinning at the result, Chen Xiao chuckles. Now, that is interesting. Later that night, a sleek red car rolls up, heading straight toward his apartment building. A moment later, a woman steps out of the vehicle, and surprise, it is none other than his ex, Wan Qing. Inside the car sits Zhang Yang and his goons. He stays put, casually puffing on a cigar while scanning the dark streets. Once his crew gathers, Zhang Yang finally steps out of the car, asking, Little Zhang, is this where Chen Xiao is staying? Little Zhang bows politely and replies, Yes, boss. He is in that building right at the back. Then, Zhang Yang walks over to Wan Qing, casually sliding his hand onto her backside. Whispering in her ear, he asks, Baby, Chen Xiao used to be your man. I am about to raid his place, you do not mind, do you? Wan Qing clings to him. Sweet talking, Mr. Zhang, you are the only one in my heart now. I actually hate Chen Xiao anyway. He is nothing but a useless, pathetic loser. But deep down inside, her thoughts turn dark. Chen Xiao, today is the day you die. Moments later, Zhang Yang spots a couple of figures lurking behind a nearby wall. It is Da Fu, with Zhang Mian right behind him. Da Fu calls out eagerly, Hey bosses, are you here looking for Chen Xiao? We live here, and we are more than happy to help you teach that guy a lesson, he shouts, pointing straight at Chen Xiao's apartment. Exactly. If he tries to run, we will block his escape. We know every single corner of this place. Zhang Yang smiles, thoroughly pleased. Great, help me grab Chen Xiao, and I will let you guys keep some of his supplies. Da Fu is ecstatic and instantly volunteers to lead the way. Thank you, boss. Right this way. We know a shortcut, but on the way there, Zhang Yang casually orders his thugs to plunder food from the other residents. Da Fu watches silently without a care, until he realizes they are actually raiding his own home, making him cry out, Wait, boss. This is my place. We are on the same side. It is a misunderstanding. But Big Tiger snarls, Your place. This entire building belongs to the Zhang family now. Uncle Wang suffers the exact same fate and panics, crying out, Oh my God, you people cannot do this to us. We did nothing to offend you. But instead, Da Fu gets beaten up and stripped of everything, leaving him weeping in endless regret. I was wrong. So wrong. I should have never been so greedy. Now we have absolutely nothing left, not even a way to survive. I was completely blind. How could I ever trust these absolute monsters? After a short walk, They finally arrive at Chen Xiao's front gate. The thugs are armed to the teeth, weapons in hand, ready to strike at any moment. But instead of hiding, Chen Xiao steps right out, casually tossing a heavy sofa right in front of them. Plop. He sits down, casually eating barbecue. Acting like nothing is wrong, he asks, "So, what brings you guys to my door?" Furious at his sheer arrogance, Zhang Yang sneers. "Listen here, kid, you are about to die. And you are still showing off? Hand over your supplies, and I might let you live." Chen Xiao completely ignores the threat, calmly wiping his mouth with a napkin. A second later, with eyes full of killing intent, he speaks softly. "Did your parents never teach you? Interrupting someone while they are eating is incredibly rude." That completely triggers Zhang Yang, his face twisting in pure rage. He roars his order. "Damn it, kill him." The mob charges all at once. Chen Xiao easily dodges their wild swings, but as a second attacker lunges, his expression turns dead serious. Smash! He cracks a plate over the guy's head and slams him face first into the dirt. Another thug tries to sneak up and ambush him, but Chen Xiao is way too fast, sweeping his legs out. Suddenly, Big Tiger raises a massive axe, aiming straight for his head. Chen Xiao spots the attack and curses. Just then, a gas canister is thrown into the mix. Time for a little distraction. The canister clatters right in front of Zhang Yang, leaving him completely baffled. Seconds later, boom, it detonates, unleashing a thick cloud of white smoke that completely blinds everyone on the battlefield. Zhang Yang coughs violently, covering his mouth and screaming, "Tear gas!" This kid has backup. Fall back, retreat. Even Chen Xiao is choking on the gas, covering his mouth in frustration. Once the smoke finally clears and the thugs scatter, a familiar figure steps out. "Looks like you are a magnet for trouble, huh? Though I have to admit, your fighting skills are impressive." Recognizing his old friend, Chen Xiao asks, "What are you doing here?" Turns out, his savior is Mu Kang, who is still holding another gas canister. Mu Kang grins and adds, "Still need a gun? I have some serious firepower right here." Chen Xiao pulls out a bucket of ice-cold drinks to welcome him, blowing Mu Kang's mind. Ice water in the middle of an apocalypse? Man, you are living like an absolute king during the end of the world. Chen Xiao tosses him a bottle, ready to talk business. Chen Xiao demands to know why he is here, since this isn't his territory. Mu Kang honestly replies while holding his water bottle. He explains that Zhang Yang's men have been stealing his business lately, so he has been tracking them for a few days. Fiddling with the water bottle with a smirk, he admits he only followed the target over here out of pure curiosity. He didn't expect them to target Chen Xiao, pointing out that since resources are low, Chen Xiao must have a massive stockpile. He tells Chen Xiao not to misunderstand, as he is not trying to spy. He knows Zhang Yang has hoarded plenty of clean water and wants to cooperate to steal it, noting it requires a special method. Hearing this, Chen Xiao's face instantly fills with worry. Chen Xiao seriously asks what he is trying to say, prompting Mu Kang to quickly clarify that he has no intention of snooping. Leaning in closer, Mu Kang whispers a secret proposal. Zhang Yang has stored up massive amounts of clean water. Mu Chang wants to partner up to steal it, claiming he knows the exact layout of their operations. If Chen Xiao can secure the water, they can store it at his place first, while Mu Kang handles the black market distribution. Chen Xiao stays silent, but internally realizes that with the scorching heat rising, clean water is now the ultimate currency. Once he makes up his mind, Chen Xiao happily accepts the deal, leaving Mu Chang absolutely stunned by his quick decision. But Chen Xiao demands a massive 90-10 split, 90% for him and only 10% for Mu Kang, driving his partner into a furious rage. Mu Kang yells that he might as well just rob him. Meanwhile, the system alerts Chen Xiao that intense negative emotions have yielded 40 shock points. Since Mu Kang is refusing, Chen Xiao simply tells him the deal is off. Left with no choice, Mu Kang literally begs on his knees, desperately pleading for an 80-20 split so he can at least make a small profit. He fakes his tears while secretly realizing that Chen Xiao's insane confidence means he must hold a major trump card, making him the only viable partner. He knows there is absolutely no one else suited for this job. Back at the apartment, Chen Xiao finally agrees to 80-20, but demands first pick on any future goods Mu Chang acquires before they go on the market. He gets first choice, leaving Mu Kang to sell the rest. Mu Kang sighs in defeat, calling him ruthless, but accepting the terms. With the negotiations settled, they immediately begin plotting their next big move. First, they need to map out the stronghold, so you and I watch as they scout the base under the radar. Looking down, Chen Xiao points out Zhang Yang's fortified compound, noting the trading zone directly ahead. Mu Kang whispers that desperate survivors are forced to pay astronomical sums of cash or trade their valuable goods for water. From their high vantage point, they spot heavily armed patrol guards carrying loaded pistols. Watching a group of girls in revealing outfits, Chen Xiao deduces they were kidnapped to serve the gang's high-ranking members. Unbelievably, he spots Wan Qing among the captives, forced into the same. She shares their tragic fate, her face pale and visibly trembling with absolute terror. After assessing the area, Chen Xiao tells his partner that the water storage is hidden somewhere in the back. He devises a stealth operation. He will infiltrate the facility, and once Mu Kang sees his signal, he must create a massive distraction to draw the guards away. Skeptical and highly concerned, Mu Kang asks how he plans to smuggle all that water completely on his own. Chen Xiao simply claims he has his ways before slipping away, swiftly knocking out an unsuspecting guard to steal his uniform for the perfect disguise. As he sneaks inside, another guard named He Diao spots him and instantly finds his behavior highly suspicious. Demanding to see his ID, the guard barks that his face looks unfamiliar. Handing over the badge, Chen Xiao quickly improvises a clever lie. He claims Boss Zhang sent him to inventory the water supply, but the guard steps closer, highly skeptical that he would handle such a task entirely alone. Accusing him of playing games, the guard sneers, triggering a system alert that awards Chen Xiao 5 points of mockery. Realizing he has no choice, Chen Xiao decides to silence the guard right then and there. He used to only use his spatial slash to slice apples, but today he is cutting flesh. Unleashing his spatial severing skill, he slices clean across He Diao's neck in a flash. Screaming in sheer agony, the guard collapses onto the floor, desperately clutching his bleeding neck as blood gushes through his fingers. Immediately, the system registers extreme negative emotions from the dying guard, adding 50 terror and 50 agony points to his stash. Seeing his partner collapse, another guard named Huang Gu panics and instantly fires a hail of bullets directly at Chen Xiao. But the incoming bullets are easily blocked by his spatial barrier. With a swift flick of his fingers, his spatial slash slices Huang Gu clean in half. True to form, the system immediately flags a massive wave of intense negative emotions, netting him 100 points of fear and 100 points of despair. Just as loud gunshots echo throughout the complex, realizing there's an intruder, the guards shout and rush over. Not wanting a head-on clash, Chen Xiao quickly searches for a place to hide. But as he carefully tracks the guard patrol, an unexpected hand suddenly reaches out from behind him. With a tense look, Chen Xiao quickly glanced back. In no time, the entire enemy squad had gathered around the clean water supply. Just minutes later, his savior was Yu Yu, and right now, she was signaling him to keep completely quiet. Once they reached safety, Chen Xiao asked her, "Why are you here?" Yu Yu lowered her head in sadness, replying, "I was captured. What about you? Did they catch you too?" He got straight to the point, asking, "Do you know where they keep the water?" She nodded honestly. "I do. They made me do the cleaning, so I already know the layout. Let me guide you there." With that, Yu Yu checked their surroundings. Spotting a search party heading their way, she quickly threw a water bucket to create a distraction. The guards fell for it, shouting, "Over there, move it." Once they cleared out, Yu Yu whispered for Chen Xiao to follow her since there were no security cameras here, and he quietly slipped behind her. Reaching the water storage area, Chen Xiao made a quick proposal. "Find a place to hide and wait for me." Yu Yu nodded, and in the very next second, he activated his special ability. Chen Xiao gently placed his hand on the nearby concrete door. Then, with a single punch, he completely shattered the massive, thick slab. The breaking door erupted with a deafening crash, sending concrete shards blasting through the air. Seeing his door blown wide open, Renyan was utterly shocked and confused. He spun around, roaring in sheer rage. "Who is that? How did you sneak in here?" But the only reply to Renyan's question was Chen Xiao's freezing, razor-sharp gaze. Before his enemy could even raise his gun, Chen Xiao struck first with deadly speed. Activating his basic space-severing skill, he slashed a fatal wound right across Renyan's neck. A second later, the system alerted him, detecting massive negative emotions. Shock plus 120, fear plus 100, agony plus 120. Seeing that Chen Xiao was still not back, Yu Yu grew increasingly restless. She peeked out the door, her anxiety spiking. Chen Xiao had been gone for so long. Could something have gone terribly wrong? Outside, total chaos erupted. Thick smoke and raging flames turned the sky blood red while the ceiling shook, dropping chunks of concrete all around her. Stepping out, she grabbed a nearby brick, her eyes scanning the area with absolute caution. Suddenly, a figure loomed through the thick smoke. Yu Yu froze in place, her heart stopping dead in her chest. In terror, she shut her eyes and raised the brick toward the shadow. But recognizing the person in front of her, Yu Yu froze, looking incredibly embarrassed. Chen Xiao turned around, his expression ice-cold and devoid of any emotion. It's dealt with. Let's move. He quickly loaded a flare into the pistol in his hand. Without a moment's hesitation, Chen Xiao fired, the deafening blast tearing through the silent night. A crimson light ripped through the dark sky, illuminating the sea of fire below. At that moment, his eyes burned with sheer confidence and determination. On a rooftop far from Zhang Yang's base, Mu Chang spotted the signal and smirked. So, he finally made his move? This Chen Xiao guy is the real deal. He immediately pushed a cart loaded with incendiary bombs straight off the edge. The cart plummeted down without mercy. In the blink of an eye, Zhang Yang's entire base was completely swallowed by a sea of fire. Spotting the sudden blaze, a panic-stricken henchman began screaming, "Fire! Quick, put it out!" Pointing toward the main gate, he shrieked in absolute terror. "Incendiary bombs! Run!" On the other side, Yu Yu led the way, whispering quietly, "If we go through this alley, we will reach the area outside the south gate." Suddenly, Chen Xiao sensed someone closing in, his eyes turning cold and defensive. Suddenly, Wan Qing rushed out and hugged him tightly, begging in a desperate, pleading voice, "Chen Xiao, please take me with you." She pressed herself against him, sobbing, "Please, I beg you, for the sake of our past love, have some mercy." Wan Qing looked up with red, teary eyes. "Just take me away, and I will forget about you using my name to secure that loan." Chen Xiao let out a cold sneer. "Forget about it? You clearly do not understand the situation here." Staring at the ground, tears streamed down her gorgeous face as she sobbed. "They force me every single day. They force me to serve those disgusting old men here. Whenever I resist, they beat me. And when I try to run, they always drag me back. I really have nowhere else to go. Please let me stay with you. I will do absolutely anything you want." His expression remained completely dead, showing absolutely zero sympathy. "Back when you laughed because I was broke, calling me a pathetic simp, sleeping with old men behind my back, and even guiding Zhang Yang to kill me. Did you ever expect this day would come?" As he spoke, Chen Xiao's eyes flared with intense hatred. Wan Qing stood utterly frozen, her lips trembling without a single word. The agonizing memories of his past life flashed vividly inside his head. "In our past life, when you tore my body apart, did you ever expect this day would come?" Back then, Chen Xiao was forced onto the freezing ground, his head pinned down as he struggled helplessly. Back then, she showed zero mercy, leaving bloody, open wounds all over his body. That grim memory made his gaze turn bone-chillingly cold. Chen Xiao brutally shoved Wan Qing to the dirt. "Your acting is still as pathetic as ever." With those final words, Chen Xiao turned around and coldly walked away. "Let's go," he called out. Beside him, Yu Yu looked a bit flustered, glancing back at the defeated woman hissing in absolute fury, she spat. "Fine, Chen Xiao. You are ruthless. If you won't let me live, then nobody gets to have peace." Right then, the system chimed, detecting massive negative energy hatred plus 999. Meanwhile, back inside Zhang Yang's base, chaotic screams and panicked shouts echoed everywhere. "Where is my water? Is it safe?" He kicked the door open with his thugs, only to find the entire room reduced to ashes. The place was a ruined, smoking mess. Then, his eyes caught a message left on the wall. "Taking the water first. Next time, I am coming for your worthless life." Zhang Yang's face twisted in pure rage. Who did this? Right on cue, Wan Qing stumbled inside, feigning weakness as she collapsed onto the floor. "The one who left that is Chen Xiao. I tried to stop him, but he beat me up and even insulted you." She placed a hand on his shoulder, whispering venomously that he was nothing but a useless weakling. Pouring fuel on the fire, she added that he did not deserve these resources. Leaning closer to Zhang Yang's ear, she hissed, "He wants us all dead." Hearing that, his temper exploded completely. "Everyone, with me to the south gate. We are going to slaughter that bastard." Above, thick dark clouds drifted silently across the night sky, as if watching the bloody showdown about to unfold below. Seeing Zhang Yang and his armed thugs surrounding them, Chen Xiao spoke in a low, calm voice. "Well, that is quite a crowd." Mu King replied coolly, "Go big or go home." Meanwhile, the boss stroked his chin, glaring fiercely at them. Gripping his torch, Chen Xiao smirked mockingly. "Well, Boss Lu, you sure move fast." Furious, Zhang Yang roared, "Get him." Without hesitation, Chen Xiao slammed his burning torch directly onto the ground. Instantly, A massive wall of fire erupted, spreading outward. Within seconds, the blazing barrier completely blocked the charging thugs. Watching this, his eyes turned bloodshot with rage. Chen Xiao, I will personally drag you down to hell. Just then, the system pinged with more massive hatred points plus 999. Mockingly, Chen Xiao slid a thumb across his neck in a throat-slitting gesture. Thanks for the gift, Boss Liu. I will gladly take those points. Meanwhile, the system screen flashed with another notification. Negative emotion points have reached 3,000. Would you like to unlock the new skill, Space Shield? Afterwards, the three returned to Chen Xiao's apartment. Amidst the desolate silence of the neighborhood, the warm yellow light glowing from his window felt like a safe haven. Mu Kang took a huge, refreshing gulp of water and cheered. Brother, you are insane. He slapped Chen Xiao hard on the shoulder. Old dog Liu must be losing his damn mind right now. Meanwhile, Yu had set up a steaming hot pot on the table. The mouth-watering aroma filled the entire room. Seasoning the broth, she whispered softly. Chen Xiao, I really can't thank you enough. Without you, I'd still be stuck in that hellhole. He replied calmly. We're old classmates. No need to be so polite. You looked down, her voice softening. It is more than that. You made me realize there is still someone in this world I can actually trust. Mu Kang rested his chin on his hands, watching them with a knowing smirk. Yeah, the hero saving the beauty move works every time. Suddenly, he pointed at the mountain of water bottles stacked nearby, his voice dripping with curiosity. Hey, give me a hint. How on earth did you pull that off? Mu Kang's eyes were wide with shock. Moving an entire warehouse of water alone? Holy crap. Is that magic? In contrast to his excitement, Chen Xiao remained dead silent. After a long pause, he replied coolly, I have my ways. You should worry about how we are going to sell all this water safely instead. Then, Chen Xiao glanced over at Yu. By the way, we completely lost touch with you after high school. At those words, her face instantly clouded with sadness. Some things happened at home after graduation. Yu looked down, a lump forming in her throat as horrifying memories of that year suddenly rushed back. The entire house had been pitch black, filled with a thick, metallic stench of blood. Chilling pools of fresh crimson trailed across the floor. She had screamed for her parents in absolute panic. After a long silence, she whispered, My parents. They both, right then, sensing something off outside, both Chen Xiao and Mu Kang snapped their heads toward the window. Outside, massive pillars of fire were roaring into the sky, painting the night red. The three rushed to the glass to see. Staring out at the raging sea of fire, Mu Kang couldn't help but swear, Damn it, the whole place is burning. On the security monitor, Zhang Yang's thugs were relentlessly hurling Molotov cocktails at their building. Outside the front gate, a terrified woman clutched her baby tight, banging on the door in sheer desperation. Help! Save my baby! Inside, Mu Kang slammed his fist onto the table in rage. That bastard Zhang Yang did this. Does he want to kill everyone here? Yu looked at Chen Xiao, whispering nervously, Should we do something to help? Chen Xiao stood frozen before the monitors, his eyes cold and completely unbothered. Zhang Yang wants to use moral guilt and innocent lives to trap him. Too bad Chen Xiao is no longer the naive fool who got killed in his past life. Outside, Zhang Yang stands in a sea of roaring fire, screaming like a madman. Chen Xiao, let's see how long you can hide. If you don't get out here, I'll burn this entire place to ashes. Let's see if your iron turtle shell can hold out. Beside him, a brutal-faced lackey raises a firebomb high in the air. You're a genius, boss. With a fire this big, even if they don't burn, they'll choke to death on the smoke. Standing amidst the raging inferno, Zhang Yang smirks, fully confident in his victory. He casually pulls out a cigarette, watching the relentless flames grow to consume everything. His smug grin only deepens by the second. Meanwhile, inside the safe house, Mu Kang frowns in deep worry. Chen Xiao, this is bad. The heat will seep in. If we don't burn, we'll roast alive or suffocate. But Chen Xiao just stands there quietly, a mocking smirk playing on his lips. As he thinks about the brutal, extreme heat of this apocalyptic era, how could he possibly forget to equip his high-tech shelter with the absolute best fire suppression system? With a single tap, Chen Xiao activates the system. High-pressure nozzles instantly unleash a thick, heavy white mist, aggressively crashing down onto the roaring flames. The raging fire is instantly choked out as the heavy white foam floods the ground, completely stopping the spread of the massive blaze. Mu Kang gapes in absolute shock. Holy crap, man! Where did you get this stuff? This is heavy-duty military-grade equipment. Standing nearby, Yu silently watches Chen Xiao, her eyes shining with pure admiration. Outside, Zhang Yang is utterly dumbfounded by the sudden defense. His face twists in rage, looking incredibly ugly. His desperate thugs keep throwing firebombs at the building, refusing to give up. Barrels of gasoline crash down, sending flames roaring back to life. Zhang Yang bellows, "Keep throwing. I doubt his supplies are infinite." But then, a panicked lackey rushes over to report, "Boss, we're running out of fuel. That white fog is insane." Meanwhile, Chen Xiao steps onto the balcony, holding a megaphone. He looks down at the blazing mess, a patronizing smirk on his face. "Hey Boss Lu, done playing with matches? Why not come in for a nice, cold drink to cool off?" Instantly, the system chimes. Rage detected, plus 88 points. Down below, Zhang Yang glares at the panicking hostages, and a vicious plan begins to brew in his mind. No, change of plans. Killing Chen Xiao is way too easy on that bastard. His secure, self-sufficient shelter is absolute perfection. It must be mine. His eyes gleam with pure, villainous malice. Fire did not work. Now, he is going to make things incredibly ugly. Seeing the dark, twisted look on Zhang Yang's face, the trembling hostages shrink back in sheer terror. From high above, Chen Xiao watches silently as his expression darkens. Seeing Zhang Yang's twisted, scheming grin, he easily guesses what the psycho is planning next. Zhang Yang grabs a burning torch, pointing it directly at the terrified hostages as he screams, "Chen Xiao, get your ass out here, you coward. Look at these people. They are all suffering because of you." Old Wang cries out in terror, sobbing helplessly, "You damn brat. You crossed Boss Lu and dragged all of us into this. Get out here right now." Inside, Mu Kang grinds his teeth and clenches his fists in rage. That absolute child. If we must, let's charge out and fight him. But Chen Xiao remains still, his cold eyes completely unfazed. Inside, he only offers a mocking, silent laugh. Using innocent hostages to threaten him? In this apocalyptic world, mercy is a death sentence. Seeing no response from the shelter, Zhang Yang completely loses his temper. He violently grabs Old Wang by the collar. Still hiding like a turtle, "Chen Xiao? Fine, I'll start with this old geezer first." "Zhang Yang, you'll burn in hell for this." The old man screams in despair. Watching the fragile old man get dragged across the security monitor, Chen Xiao's eyes flicker. It's Old Wang. Memories of his past life flash in his mind. Back when he was dying of thirst, only Old Wang had the kindness to give him water. He told him back then to survive. Now, Chen Xiao's eyes harden with absolute resolve. He will not be ungrateful. Chen Xiao turns to his friend. "Mu Kang, keep you safe inside. I'm going out to settle this with Zhang Yang." Within moments, the heavy steel security door slowly creaks open. Stepping calmly into the raging fire, Chen Xiao declares, "Zhang Yang, this is between us. Leave the others out of this." Zhang Yang grabbed Mr. Wang by the collar, a manic grin plastered across his face. "So, Chen Xiao, you finally crawled out of your turtle shell. Huh? Want to play the hero? Fine. Give me back my money, trade your life for theirs, and maybe I will consider letting them go." Chen Xiao stared back with absolute indifference. Frowning, his response was sharp and direct. "I am not interested." Zhang Yang froze in utter confusion. He had absolutely no idea what Chen Xiao was planning. Suddenly, Chen Xiao pointed directly at his face. "Boss Lu, fighting and killing is so cliché. It is bad for your karma. I heard you made your fortune running casinos, so let us settle this with your specialty. How about a little wager?" Chen Xiao continued. "If you win, everything I own is yours. But if I win, you free Mr. Wang and get the hell out of here." Without a second thought, Zhang Yang whipped out a dice cup. "Deal," he barked, slamming it down. High versus low. One roll to decide life or death. Chen Xiao caught the cup cleanly out of midair, staring back with complete composure. "Fine. I bet high." Instantly, the tension in the room skyrocketed, thick enough to cut. Both opponents locked eyes, radiating absolute confidence as they prepared for this high-stakes, life-or-death showdown of gamblers. Suddenly, the rattling of dice shattered the silence. Zhang Yang shook the cup with effortless, professional skill, his eyes practically dripping with arrogance. Across from him, Chen Xiao was just as fast. The dice cup in his hand spun like a dazzling magic trick, blinding anyone who watched. Chen Xiao let out a powerful shout, utterly confident in his ultimate specialty. Zhang Yang's arm became a blur, moving so fast it left afterimages. Chen Xiao matched him blow for blow. His aura flared, radiating immense pressure with every sharp movement. Boom! Almost simultaneously, Both slammed their cups onto the table. True to his cheating nature, Zhang Yang secretly triggered a hidden switch on the dice. Instantly, the dice shifted. Every single one of them flipped to show sixes. His lackeys, completely used to this cheating routine, cheered in unison. Boss wins. Boss always wins. Boss is undefeated. Zhang Yang whipped the lid off. The moment he saw the result, he burst into a maniacal laugh. 3 sixes. Ultimate win. You lose. Yet, Chen Xiao remained unfazed. A faint, confident smirk playing on his lips. Do not hold your breath, Boss Lu. The game is not over yet. He instantly activated his special skill. Invisible slashes flashed like lightning, cleanly slicing every single die inside his opponent's cup right in half. Chen Xiao casually lifted his lid, revealing his dice split neatly into halves. He smirked. Boss Lu, looks like your dice quality is pretty cheap. Seeing this impossible sight, the thug's jaws dropped in sheer terror. The hostages stared in utter disbelief. One of them could not help but gasp out. How did they all get sliced in half? Chen Xiao spoke calmly. Total score is 21. Beats your ultimate win. He looked up, his voice turning bone-chillingly cold. You lost. Release them. Furious, Zhang Yang grit his teeth so hard they nearly shattered. You? He roared in absolute rage. You dare mock me? Just then, a system notification popped up. Strong negative emotion detected. Anger plus 500. Drawing a knife, Zhang Yang lunged forward like a rabid animal. Die, you little brat. The hostages went pale with terror, turning their eyes away, unable to watch the horror unfold. But Chen Xiao stood completely still, his calm expression borderline terrifying. Only one thought crossed his mind. Perfect timing to test my new skill. Just as the blade neared, Chen Xiao dodged with effortless grace. Simultaneously, a gas canister materialized out of nowhere and soared right behind Zhang Yang. The canister slammed down, startling Zhang Yang. But before he could react, a thick, white mist erupted, completely swallowing both of them. His panicked henchmen started screaming out, "Boss, boss!" Gripping their weapons, they plunged into the fog. Spotting their leader, one thug frantically asked, "Are you okay, boss?" Pinching his nose, Zhang Yang choked out, "I am fine. Get in there and drag that kid out." Right then, he caught sight of a familiar figure standing ahead. Without hesitating, Zhang Yang pointed aggressively toward the shadow. Believing Chen Xiao was right there, he roared, "Kill him." But in that exact moment, the thug beside him let out a blood-curdling scream. Shaken, Zhang Yang shrieked, "What is going on?" A blinding slash ripped through the air. The front lackey was sent flying backward, fresh blood painting the ground a deep, gruesome crimson. Meanwhile, Chen Xiao stood untouched, completely uninjured. Realizing he could not drag this fight out any longer, Zhang Yang made his move. Gritting his teeth, he drew his ultimate secret weapon. No matter how strong the kid was, dodging this was impossible. A massive explosion shook the air, drowning out Zhang Yang's crazed laughter. "Go to hell," he shrieked triumphantly at Chen Xiao. "Everything you own is mine now." At that exact second, the system chimed once more. Spatial barrier has been activated. The explosive force of that shell was absolutely terrifying, making the barrier shake violently. But within seconds, the tip of the projectile began to crack, shattering into tiny fragments. Zhang Yang stood frozen, cold sweat pouring down his face. What on earth was happening here? Chen Xiao just stood there calmly, hands in his pockets, a smirk playing on his lips, to think he could block a shell. He scoffed. Can't Boss Lu afford to lose? With everyone watching, Chen Xiao's gaze turned icy cold. Are you trying to back out of the bet? With just a few effortless slashes, Chen Xiao instantly shredded every single remaining piece of shrapnel into dust. Then, he slowly walked toward his enemy. Watching that massive hunk of metal crash down right in front of him, the boss was left completely speechless. His face went completely pale, drained of all color. Chen Xiao spoke coldly. "Boss Lu, if you don't even have a decent weapon, you have no right to negotiate with me." Zhang Yang was trembling like a leaf, a violent storm raging inside his mind. This guy was bad news. There was definitely something off. Chen Xiao frowned, his eyes filled with sheer annoyance. "Boss Lu, you have repeatedly caused me trouble and pushed my limits. I think it is finally time for us to settle our debt." Hearing this, the boss froze in sheer panic. He had completely run out of the fuel he brought along. Fighting would only result in a total loss. This kid had too many freaky skills, not to mention a whole safe house. He was a literal goldmine. If Zhang Yang could just recruit him, he would easily recover all his losses with interest. Massaging his temples, the boss forced himself to calm down and quickly devise a brand new plan. Suddenly, the look on his face completely shifted. His previous aggression totally vanished, replaced by a slimy, flattering smile. Chen Xiao, it is all a misunderstanding. A total misunderstanding. You and I go back a bit, so why don't we strike a deal instead? Clasping his hands together, Zhang Yang pleaded, his aggressive tone completely gone. Chen Xiao, hear me out. Killing me won't do you any good besides getting blood on your hands. You will gain absolutely nothing. In this post-apocalyptic world, human life is cheap. But I can help you survive and live a much better life. Leaning in close, he whispered, I have a stash of medicine. We are talking antibiotics, penicillin, and cephalosporin. Do you know how priceless those are right now? A single infected scratch is enough to put you in the ground. Let me walk away, and half of it is yours. Chen Xiao lowered his head slightly, his eyes flashing with deep calculation. A moment later, Chen Xiao slowly rested his hand on Zhang Yang's shoulder, speaking in a calm tone. Antibiotics really are a hot commodity these days. He intentionally threw out some bait, carefully choosing his words to stoke the other man's absolute greed. Boss Liu, to be completely honest with you, this safe house is not the only thing I have. My private stockpile is far bigger than you could ever imagine. Hearing this, the boss stroked his chin, a greedy smirk spreading across his face. You have food but no medicine. A single fever could easily end you, so why not team up with me? That stash is hidden in the abandoned factory in the West District, and only I know the passcode. Shadows covered Chen Xiao's face, but his eyes gleamed with a terrifyingly cold light. Sounds like a plan. Chen Xiao patted Zhang Yang's shoulder. Let us call it a night. Feeling Chen Xiao's arm around his shoulder, the boss flinched in fear, sweat dripping down his face. Right. Let us just clear up this misunderstanding and move on. Pointing toward the exit, Chen Xiao gave a cold nod. After you, Boss Liu. We can discuss the details another day. Seeing Zhang Yang stumble back in absolute defeat, his goons immediately rushed forward, calling out to him. Taking a deep breath, the boss ordered in a harsh whisper, Fall back, boys. We are leaving. Chen Xiao watched them scamper off into the night. Chen Xiao muttered to himself, Did you really think a simple passcode could stop me? I do not need a password to crack that door open. He then walked back toward the captives. Mr. Wang, you are safe now. They are gone. Nearby, old Wang stood completely frozen, staring at Chen Xiao. The insane display of power had left the old man utterly terrified, his jaw hanging wide open. Right then, the system chimed. Fear points plus 100. Grasping Chen Xiao's hands with trembling fingers, Mr. Wang said, Thank you, young man. You saved my old life. If you ever need my help, just say the word. I am too old to fight, but I can still work. I can still plant some crops and help you with daily chores. Chen Xiao replied softly. I appreciate it, Mr. Wang. For now, head home, lock your doors, and get some rest. Meanwhile, in another dark corner of the city, the pitch-black night had completely swallowed up the streets. A blood-red moon hung high in the sky, casting an incredibly eerie and spine-chilling glow over the ruins. Recalling the terrifying encounter, the puppet-like lackey was still shivering. That Chen Xiao guy is a monster. Zhang Yang snorted in absolute contempt. He is so incredibly naive. Did he honestly think I would share those drugs? Cooperate? He took a deep drag of his cigarette, sounding completely smug. I was just buying time to play him. Once I secure his massive stockpile of supplies, everything changes. I will end him once and for all. He thinks he can play with me? Xia Sen immediately chimed in with flattery. Wise boss, brilliant leader, that Chen Xiao actually dares to challenge you. I bet he will not last 3 days. Zhang Yang smirked, but his gaze suddenly turned incredibly dark. But there is definitely something off about Chen Xiao. Even direct artillery fire cannot seem to pierce through his body. Before he could even finish his sentence, a cold, sharp flash of light suddenly slashed right across his neck. Pineapple head, if you are free, go investigate him a bit. Do not. Instantly, hot crimson blood sprayed out like rain. Zhang Yang stared wide-eyed, dying on the spot in sheer horror. Witnessing this, his terrified lackeys immediately panicked, screaming in absolute chaos. Boss, there is a ghost. Run. Within moments, the entire gang scattered and fled in absolute terror, leaving only a cold, lifeless corpse lying completely abandoned on the deserted street. High on a nearby rooftop, Chen Xiao stood motionless, still maintaining his deadly skill-casting stance. His lips curled into a slight, cold smirk. Boss Liu, farewell. The very next morning, every major news channel simultaneously broadcasted an urgent, high-alert emergency. The unprecedented global heatwave has now completely spiraled out of control. Multiple critical climate tipping points have been crossed, pushing the entire ecosystem to the absolute brink of collapse. Inside Chen Xiao's apartment, the television broadcast echoed through the quiet room. The government was now officially advising citizens to make critical survival choices based on Option 1, migrate north to temporary government shelters. Option 2, fortify their current positions and wait for rescue. This is not a drill. He stood silently by the window, gazing at the chaotic world outside, with nothing but cold, mocking irony. Heading north to that supposed quiet sanctuary will only lead them into a new hell. And waiting for rescue? Even more absurd. A torrent of calculated thoughts constantly raced through Chen Xiao's mind. The real nightmare has only just begun. Soon, terrifying heat-resistant, mutated beasts will rise to devour every single creation of human civilization. He knew that the newly awakened humans would also form cutthroat factions, slaughtering one another just to hoard precious resources. The more he thought about it, the colder Chen Xiao's gaze became, and he absolutely would not stop at just protecting this safe house. Filled with fierce determination, he resolved to transform it into the ultimate survival fortress for the apocalypse. Outside, the relentless banging on the door and furious screaming showed no signs of stopping. Look at us. We are out here freezing and starving, with our homes completely ruined. But what about Chen Xiao? An angry man shouted at the top of his lungs. He is hoarding this massive, reinforced fortress all to himself, packed with food, fresh water, and even working air conditioning. Zhang Cheng agreed, demanding by what right. With that, he marched up to Chen Xiao's door, banging on it aggressively. Chen Xiao, get your butt out here. It is because of your selfish refusal to help that everyone is in this miserable mess. You owe all of us a serious explanation. Zhang Qing then turned back to the angry crowd, a sinister gleam flashing deep within his eyes. We have already decided. You must share this secure safe house with all of us, and we will take turns living here for the collective survival of the group. Meanwhile, despite the earth-shattering commotion outside, the atmosphere inside his house remained incredibly peaceful. Chen Xiao casually listened to music while cooking himself a premium, high-grade steak. Once finished, he deliberately took a photo with his phone and posted it straight to the apartment complex group chat. Instantly, the group chat exploded with rage. Is that guy seriously eating steak? We do not even have water to drink. While he is enjoying full air conditioning, that selfish bastard did this on purpose. Right then, lines of system notifications began flashing rapidly right before Chen Xiao's eyes. Jealousy plus 150, anger plus 130, despair plus 95. Reading their frantic, raging messages, his smug grin only grew wider. In this brutal apocalypse, helpless anger is nothing but the cheapest emotion. Outside, Zhang Cheng stared at the photo, veins bulging furiously on his forehead. With a roar of rage, he slammed his phone onto the ground, shattering it. Damn it. He chose the hard way over the easy way. I am absolutely going to kill him. Right then, the heavy main door slowly opened. Chen Xiao stepped out, whispering under his breath, the old factory in the West District. I should scout it first. The exact moment he stepped out of his secure sanctuary, he immediately activated his unique ability, Thermal Shock. But suddenly, a deadly knife flew out of nowhere, aiming straight for Chen Xiao's heart. Chen Xiao's entire body tensed up instantly as an intense sense of danger washed over him. Reacting in a split second, he used his heavy fist to violently deflect the knife. Zhang Cheng and his armed thugs charged forward all at once, wielding heavy machetes. Chen Xiao, if you do not hand over this house today, Lin Hao snarled, then we are going to cripple you. Chen Xiao dashed forward like a flash of lightning, moving so unbelievably fast that his opponent paled in sheer shock before even reacting. In the blink of an eye, he closed the distance, his iron grip locking onto Lin Hao's knife-wielding wrist. Chen Xiao twisted his body, violently pinning the thug's arm behind his back. With a brutal twist of the wrist, agonizing pain made Lin Hao shriek in absolute agony. The knife flew high into the air, and before it could even begin to fall, Chen Xiao moved as fast as a spark of electricity. He lunged forward and snatched it with terrifying speed and precision. Right at that moment, another thug managed to close in on him. Chen Xiao frowned, his cold eyes filled with pure annoyance. In the next split second, he directly activated his combat skill. Sharp slashes erupted all at once at a terrifying speed, leaving nothing but bright white streaks tearing through the air. Chen Xiao showed absolutely no mercy. The thugs who had aggressively rushed him just a second ago were now covered in deep wounds. Zhang Qiang was hit as well, losing his balance and crashing face first onto the cold, hard concrete floor. Trembling in agonizing pain, he forced his head up to glare at him, shouting a threat. "Are you really trying to murder us in broad daylight, with all these witnesses watching?" Right then, the system chimed with a notification, "Fear points plus 1,000. Chen Xiao looked down coldly, a mocking smirk on his lips as he sneered, "Killing you guys would only dirty my hands." Hearing this, Zhang Chang finally looked around in panic. His entire gang was now lying completely motionless on the ground, covered in deep, bloody gashes. Without even looking back, Chen Xiao simply turned around to leave, silently thinking to himself, "Killing you lot? Well, that would be way too easy. In this humid weather, those open wounds will easily get infected, rot, and lead to fatal sepsis. In just a few days, they will slowly rot away in absolute agony." Before long, he reached his destination. Under the scorching, oppressive sun, the old abandoned factory ahead looked incredibly desolate and eerie. Chen Xiao stopped in front of the rusted iron gate. This was the West Factory. Suddenly, his eyes locked onto something. A security camera. Without a second thought, Chen Xiao raised his hand to activate his skill. A bright green light condensed in his palm and shot through the air, instantly blasting the security camera to pieces. Next, he waved his hand again, unleashing a volley of sharp slashes across the massive iron gate, leaving behind deep, jagged gashes. Chen Xiao quietly slipped inside, taking cover behind a massive wall to silently assess the area. He carefully advanced, step by step, his nerves stretched to the absolute limit. But the moment he entered, a foul stench hit his nose. Chen Xiao began coughing violently, quickly covering his nose. Poison gas was in the air. In just a few seconds, his entire body went limp, his strength completely drained. He cursed in anger, realizing it was a trap. Right then, two figures silently approached from behind. But because the gas had paralyzed his senses, Chen Xiao did not notice them at all. Out of nowhere, the man precisely injected a syringe of liquid straight into Chen Xiao's arm. The ice-cold liquid quickly flooded his bloodstream, spreading a strange numbness through his body. Chen Xiao's pupils contracted, his eyes filled with pure shock. The man spoke in an extremely gentle voice. "Young man, are you feeling better yet? This nerve gas is not lethal, but the experience is definitely unpleasant." Chen Xiao quickly stood up, staring warily at them, demanding, "Who are you?" Doubts filled his mind. Why on earth were there guards stationed in this place? Zhang Yang had not mentioned this at all. Did that old man trick him? Still, these two seemed to harbor no ill intent. The man slowly put the syringe back in its case, introducing himself gently. "My name is Lin Guodong, and I am a biomedical researcher." He gestured to the woman beside him, explaining that he specialized in human evolution under extreme environmental conditions. "This is my student, Su Rui. I also run this facility." Su Rui waved politely to greet him. "Hello," she said. Guodong adjusted his glasses, unable to hide the deep curiosity in his eyes. "The gas outside is a necessary security measure, but I am highly curious about what tool you used. Those cuts are truly unique." Avoiding a direct answer, Chen Xiao simply nodded. "Professor Lin, thank you both for saving me." Though keeping a calm face, Chen Xiao remained wary of the researcher. His eyes quietly scanned the room, taking in his surroundings. First, he noticed large glass cabinets packed with various colorful medicines and chemical solutions. On the other side of the room stood a massive dinosaur fossil. Chen Xiao was completely stunned, hardly believing his own eyes, that this place was just a medicine storage room. Moments later, the professor led him deeper into the factory. "You need medicine, right? Feel free to take what you need." Guodong spoke in a warm tone, offering it as an apology for the security mishap, and also as a small welcoming gift for their first meeting. Hearing that, Chen Xiao did not hesitate, immediately stepping forward to open the glass cabinet. He quickly packed his bag with various medicines and medical supplies. With his objective complete, he slung the backpack over his shoulder and got ready to leave. Before leaving, Chen Xiao turned back to deliver a brief, cold word of thanks. The professor stood still, silently watching him disappear through the exit. A dark smirk played on Guodong's lips as his eyes gleamed wickedly behind his glasses, whispering, "Until we meet again." By the time Chen Xiao returned to his apartment, the sun was already setting. The blood-red sunset painted the entire sky, creating an incredibly beautiful scene. He hurried to his front door, grabbed the handle, and threw it open. Only after stepping safely inside his apartment did Chen Xiao finally let out a sigh of relief. Thoughts raced through his mind. Even though Master Lin had saved him and had not caused him any trouble, he recalled how that man's gaze always sent a shiver down his spine. Right then, his phone on the table suddenly began to buzz repeatedly. A new message popped up in the building's group chat. Does anyone have antibiotics and bleeding control medicine? Save us. Willing to pay top dollar. Seeing this, Chen Xiao completely forgot his previous unease. A smirk played on his lips. He had just acquired a few boxes, and their effects were likely excellent. But he was absolutely not selling. In the chat, the residents went completely wild. Furious to the point of madness, Zhang Cheng spammed the chat with insults. Chen Xiao is a selfish scoundrel who only thinks of himself. Right below, another thug posted a violent threat. Chen Xiao, you shameless jerk. Just wait until my boys recover. We will come right to your door and take your life. Lin Hao chimed in, telling him to watch out. At that moment, system notifications chimed repeatedly. Anger plus 99. Hatred plus 200. Jealousy plus 380. Paying them no mind, he casually sat down and opened his backpack to check his newly scavenged haul. Chen Xiao froze instantly, his pupils shrinking in absolute shock. His eyes locked onto an incredibly tiny object that had been cleverly concealed right underneath the zipper of his bag. A tracker, he realized instantly. Chen Xiao stared in disbelief at the tiny device in his hand, filled with questions. Who could have slipped this tracking device into his bag? And more importantly, when did they do it? Standing in this massive city, he found it almost comical. Did they really want to play a game of cat and mouse? Just then, something caught his eye, and he made up his mind. Fine, then, he would play along with them. Right next to the trash can near Chen Xiao, a stray white cat suddenly appeared, slowly creeping closer and closer to him. Chen Xiao gently reached out, attached the tracker to the cat, and muttered, "Little guy, do me a quick favor." Once done, he let the cat go, not forgetting to instruct it. Take this and go wherever you usually like to wander. The stray cat obediently roamed around, climbing and wandering through all the random spots it loved to visit. Meanwhile, in another location, a computer screen displayed a map covered in messy, chaotic red tracking lines, and the owner of the machine, Guo Dong, stared at it in deep silence. What is going on? What on earth is he doing with this weird movement pattern? Brushing aside that confusion, the scene quickly shifts over to a mobile phone screen. The phone screen played a video of Zhang Cheng crawling on the floor, desperately begging, "Does anyone have medicine? Anti-inflammatories, fever reducers. My boys are not going to make it, and you cannot just stand by and watch us die." Another video was quickly pulled up. Holding a sick child in her arms, a weak voice pleaded, "Please, everyone, my child has not had clean water for 2 days. Is there any kind soul who can spare some? I will trade my precious art books for it. We can negotiate anything." Seeing this woman's familiar face, Chen Xiao could not help but recall his past life and muttered in annoyance, same old trick to gain sympathy. In his past life, she used this exact scheme to extract countless benefits. Just then, a message directly tagging him popped up. "Chen Xiao, you are hoarding so many supplies. Are you planning to take them to your grave? What is the point? A child is dying of thirst, yet you remain indifferent. Do you have any humanity left? A cold, selfish, irresponsible man like you deserves to remain single for the rest of your life." Reading this, he found it completely ironic and scoffed, thinking how ridiculous they were. That was not his kid, so why should he be held responsible? As he spoke, the air around Chen Xiao grew menacingly cold, as if a dark, destructive fire was beginning to burn deep inside his heart. Chen Xiao tapped away on his phone and sent a photo, replying that fake kindness and moral guilt trips would never work on him. Right after, he mockingly tagged someone else in the group chat, replying directly to Wang Wei, "You have 3 cases of water and 2 boxes of canned food stockpiled. Why do you not share yours first? Whatever amount you give, I will double it." Seeing this, Wang Wei on the other side was so shocked that she slammed the table, snapping her lipstick in half. Did he actually install cameras in the hallway? She gritted her teeth in pure fury as she glared at the message. "I was so careful, yet he still caught me on camera." This exposure instantly threw the entire building into chaos, with everyone tagging her. "Wang Wei, you really have that much water? Hurry up and share it with us." Before long, a mob of armed thugs quickly showed up right outside Wang Wei's front door. Without saying a single word, they swung their axes violently into her wooden door. Hearing the terrifying noise, Wang Wei turned completely pale with fear. Outside, the old man leading the mob of thugs screamed at the top of his lungs, "Inside, hand over all your food and water now." A terrifying, dangerous aura radiates from him, practically dripping with pure threat. "Do not force our hand." Looking up at these towering thugs, a weak Wang Wei collapses onto the floor, terrified to fight back. Once they breach her apartment, they immediately start ransacking the place, grabbing every single supply in sight. In another corner, while the men are busy looting all the heavy gear, Jia Di quietly slips away to snatch some drinking water and medicine. Back in the bedroom, a bruised and battered Wang Wei slumps against the bed, blankly watching those figures carry out crate after crate from her home. At that exact moment, she completely breaks down, utterly devastated, as silent tears stream down her hollow cheeks. Meanwhile, deep inside the basement of another apartment building, Zhang Qiang and his remaining brothers look down at the lifeless body on the cold ground, muttering, "Rest in peace, brother." The moment he finishes, the surrounding residents start whispering anxiously, "Are we just leaving him here to rot and smell? What if we all catch some deadly disease? What do we do? Does absolutely no one care if we live or die anymore?" Right on cue, Guo Dong and Su Rui walk down the stairs, trying to calm the crowd. "Everyone, please don't panic. Stay calm." He introduces himself with an authoritative air. "We are the medical team from the city's disease control center, here to help all of you." Slipping on his medical gloves, he steps closer to the cold corpse. "You all have suffered so much. We rushed over the instant we received our orders. Unfortunately, the roads were completely blocked, so we arrived a step too late." Prying open the dead man's eyelids to examine him, Guo Dong notes that there is still time to act. In this extreme heat, the corpse must be professionally and safely disposed of immediately. After surveying the two bodies with a solemn look, he delivers a chilling warning that terrifies everyone. Otherwise, once an epidemic breaks out, the consequences will be absolutely unimaginable. Saying that, Guo Dong quickly pulls out a stack of supplies and hands them to the residents, instructing them, "Here are some basic disinfectants and medicines. Our supplies are limited, so you must distribute them based on need and use them wisely." The gorgeous blonde leading the crowd eagerly steps forward, happily accepting the medicine with a bright, grateful smile, replying, thank you so much. You are truly our savior." The residents pass the medicine around, filled with relief and gratitude. "I knew it. Our country hasn't forgotten us after all." But they have no idea that while Guo Dong acts perfectly normal on the outside, he is hiding a dark motive within. The signal completely breaks down in this specific area. He must be hiding around here, meaning he couldn't have gone far. Over in the opposite building, Chen Xiao hears the commotion outside and looks through his window out of pure curiosity. But when he spots Guo Dong and Su Rui among the crowd, he gasps in shock, wondering, "Professor Lin? What is he doing here?" Watching the man, Chen Xiao frowns suspiciously. Is it possible that he is actually tracking me down? Suddenly, the phone in his pocket vibrates, instantly snapping him right out of his deep thoughts. Chen Xiao pulls out his phone only to see a highly bizarre and mysterious text. "Watch out for that, doctor." He stares at it, completely bewildered, his brow furrowing deeper as he wonders, who on earth could have sent this message? Chen Xiao remains frozen by the window, clutching his phone without moving an inch. It is only when his screen finally fades to black that it reflects his cold, expressionless face, staring dead ahead into the distance. Deep in this massive, sprawling metropolis, far away from his apartment building, a high-powered pair of binoculars is pointed right at him. High up on an unfinished construction site, a mysterious figure is watching his every single move through the lens. Meanwhile, back with Chen Xiao, he remains dead silent, completely lost in his deep thoughts. After a long moment, shadowed beneath the brim of his baseball cap, Chen Xiao's gaze turns incredibly sharp and cold. Unbelievable. A cold shiver runs down his spine as a dark thought crosses his mind. Is someone else actually tracking his movements, too? Chen Xiao didn't hesitate, immediately dialing the mystery number that sent the text. But all he got was a cold, automated voicemail message. Outside his window, the late afternoon sky was already fading into a deep, golden sunset. Golden rays of twilight filtered quietly through the window, filling Chen Xiao's room. Peering outside, he figured it was a burner number. Someone out there was going to extreme lengths to hide their true identity. Chen Xiao's expression darkened as he pondered their motive. Was this a genuine warning, or was someone trying to use him as a weapon against Professor Lin? Meanwhile, down below, Jian Guodong and the residents thanked him gratefully, saying, "Thank goodness you helped, Professor Lin. In this brutal heat, leaving those bodies out would have ended in disaster." Hearing this, the professor flashed a fake, oily smile and replied, "Please, it is the least I could do. Just make sure to stay cool. If anyone feels unwell in this weather, you can come find me anytime." Up in his room, Chen Xiao watched them with an increasingly tense expression. His brow furrowed so deeply, his eyebrows practically merged. He stared intently at the man, his suspicion growing. What was that dark stain on his clothes? It looked like blood. He tried to get a closer look at the dark stains on Guodong's long coat, but they looked exactly like some kind of dried chemical reagent. With that thought, Chen Xiao suddenly recalled his past life. In his memories, not long after the brutal heat wave first broke out, medical teams began appearing in certain districts, collecting blood samples under the guise of disease control, only for perfectly healthy people to mysteriously vanish shortly after. As those memories faded, the image of Guodong's fake, smiling face immediately flashed through Chen Xiao's mind. Back in the present, Guodong was carefully taping a notice to the apartment bulletin board. Once he finished, residents quickly crowded around, gasping in excitement at the mention of free bottled water. Professor Lin is truly a saint. The flyer on the board was an advisory on how to prevent heat stroke and stop the spread of dangerous infectious diseases. Starting tomorrow, they would set up a free clinic offering basic medical checkups, wound care, and nutritional supplements. The location was underground parking lot number 3, and everyone who got checked would receive a free bottle of water. The residents loved the idea. After all, who wouldn't appreciate a free health checkup in this brutal, unbearable heat? Leaving Chen Xiao's building behind, the scene shifts to a quiet, deserted alleyway. The white cat from earlier slowly approached a can of food left on the ground. Watching it eat, Guodong muttered that it made sense why the signal was jammed. Seeing the full cat rubbing against his leg, he reached down to gently pet its head. "Hey there, little guy, tastes good, right?" But as Guodong leaned down, several syringes slipped out of his pocket. His expression suddenly turned cold and menacing as he stared at the cat. "Did you see that?" Right then, a cold system voice chimed in his head, adding 25 points for speechless and 39 for resentment. Nearby, a mysterious, fully covered figure quietly watched them. It was Chen Xiao. Staring at the scene before him, a faint smile crossed his face. It really was him. Cut to a ruined underground shelter, buzzing with people moving back and forth. Amidst the dense crowd, a young girl fanned herself, grumbling about how unbearably hot it was and how long it had been since it last rained. "When will we finally get some rain?" A man beside her, wiping away sweat, noted that at least it was slightly cooler down here. The long queue led straight to a checkup desk, where Guodong sat questioning an elderly man. "Name, age, and have you been feeling sick lately?" The old man slowly answered each of his questions. "Chen Day, 76. No real issues lately, though my blood pressure has been running quite high." While Guodong was busy examining other patients, Chen Xiao stepped out from behind a concrete pillar to observe him in secret. Keeping his eyes glued to Guodong's hands, Chen Xiao watched as Chen Day asked why a blood draw was even necessary. Staring at the freshly filled vial of blood, Guodong calmly reassured him that it was just a routine checkup. Watching this unfold, Chen Xiao narrowed his eyes, deeply suspicious of what this Professor Lin was truly planning. Much later, just as Guodong was packing up the blood samples to leave, a panicked voice suddenly broke the silence, shouting for help. "Professor!" Zhang Qiang rushed over, dragging a panicked Abu along with him. "My brother is badly hurt, and the wound is infected. Please save him." Guodong quickly pulled out a strange chemical vial labeled Prototype T7. He showed the vial to Zhang Qiang and Abu, explaining its effects. "It is a new broad-spectrum booster that speeds up healing and fights off any infection." He immediately injected the fluid straight into Abu's injured arm. Once done, Guodong watched him closely, advising him to rest well for a couple of days and promising he would recover in no. Abu looked instantly exhausted after the shot, beads of sweat forming as he whispered back, "Thank you, Professor Lin." But as soon as he spoke, thick veins bulged across his forehead, his face twisting in pain. Watching this from the shadows, Chen Xiao realized exactly what was happening. Guodong was treating him like a test subject. Sure enough, Guodong stared intently at Abu's reaction before rubbing his chin with a sinister, satisfied smirk. Chen Xiao quickly slipped away, quietly trailing after Zhang Qiang and Abu. Seeing how pale his brother looked, Zhang Qiang asked in worry, "Abu, are you all right?" Suddenly, Abu collapsed to his knees, tightly clutching his bandaged arm as he trembled. "Big brother, my bones feel like they are on fire." With that, he suddenly unleashed a blood-curdling scream of agony. His fingertips rapidly turned pitch black, and terrifying red veins began bulging under his cast. The thick bandage snapped under the pressure as those glowing red veins crawled up Abu's face, turning his eyes completely bloodshot. Instantly, a monstrous surge of energy erupted from Abu's body. His shattered arm broke completely free from the plaster, fully restored and healed. Witnessing this, Zhang Qiang stumbled backward in sheer terror, gasping out Abu's name. "What is wrong with you?" But Abu ignored him, grabbing his throat and lifting him off the ground. Zhang Qiang panicked, screaming, "Abu, What are you doing? Abu squeezed harder, choking the life out of Zhang Cheng. Terrified, the man grabbed Abu's wrists and squealed, "Have you lost your mind? Let go of me. I am Zhang Cheng, your boss." But Abu was far from his usual self now. Veins popped on his face as he snarled, "Boss? You threw me to the knives last time. Did you care about being my boss back then?" But before he could finish, a sudden projectile struck his arm, forcing him to release Zhang Cheng. Furious that someone dared to interfere, Abu spun around and roared, "Who is out there?" Spotting the interloper, his rage boiled over as he growled, "Chen Xiao, it is you." Without another word, Abu charged forward like a wild, mindless beast. Chen Xiao smoothly dodged to the side, effortlessly avoiding the savage attack. A cold sweat broke on his forehead. Pursing his lips, he narrowed his eyes and closely analyzed Abu's erratic movements to predict his next strike. You and I can see his strength tripled, but his joints are stiff, attacking only in straight lines. This is definitely no ordinary drug reaction. As Abu lunged forward in a frenzy, Chen Xiao channeled dark energy into his hand, deciding it was time to end this. Raising his hand shrouded in dark mist, Chen Xiao waited patiently. In a sudden flash, he unleashed a sharp blade of energy directly through the charging monster. Chen Xiao's blade of light sliced cleanly through Abu's neck, leaving the monstrous man frozen in utter disbelief. He watched as Abu's head rolled onto the cold ground, tears streaming down the dead man's face. Moments later, a faint sound echoed through the desolate, empty street. A pair of polished leather shoes clicked rhythmically against the pavement. Moving forward, remembering Abu's drug injection, the walking man muttered, "What is going on here?" The tracking signal stopped here. The nanobot tracker in the drug should be working perfectly, and the connection was stable just a second ago. Suddenly, his footsteps ground to a complete halt. Guodong's brow furrowed so hard they almost met. Gritting his teeth, he stared in shock at the grim sight of Abu's lifeless body. Zhang Cheng, slumped weakly against a nearby wall, let out a cry. Quickly regaining his composure, he stepped forward and scanned Abu's severed head with his tablet. Frowning deeply at the screen, he muttered, "The T7 prototype. Overstimulation caused a nervous breakdown. But that was definitely not the direct cause of death." With that, Guodong reached down to examine the clean cut on Abu's neck. Right then, memories of Zhang Yang flashed vividly across Guodong's mind. He frowned deeply as he connected the dots. Zhang Yang's fatal wound and the sliced gate lock from that day were both incredibly clean and smooth. Guodong silently evaluated the artist behind this work. No advanced gear, no obvious weapons. To make a clean cut like that without weapons? You and I know that is not humanly possible. A fascinated smile crept onto his face as he recalled Chen Xiao's intense expression. Meeting him that day, he had already sensed the boy was anything but ordinary. Turns out, my instincts were spot on. Guodong lowered his tablet, completely satisfied with his discovery. He might actually possess what I have been searching for. Just then, Zhang Cheng coughed weakly from the corner, slowly regaining consciousness. Guodong quickly rushed to his side and warned, "Do not move. You are heavily injured, and your lungs might be bleeding internally." Spotting his savior, Zhang Qiang gasped, "Professor Lin, how did you get here? Help me. What about Abu?" He paused, suddenly looking around in confusion. "How is Abu doing?" Showing Chen Xiao's photo to Zhang Cheng, Guodong wore a look of fake grief as he replied, "I am deeply sorry about your friend. Do you know this boy? He is likely responsible for what happened." His voice carried an eerie, manipulative weight as he asked, "Do you know where he went? We must locate him to uncover the truth and prevent any more victims from getting hurt." Hearing this, the desperate man did not hesitate to reply, "Chen Xiao, I know exactly where his house is, and I can tell you." Hearing this, Guodong smirked with utter satisfaction. "Leave it to me. You need to receive professional medical treatment immediately. My laboratory has the absolute best medical equipment." Feigning kindness to lure Zhang Cheng, he added, "For now, you should stay at my lab to recover." These sweet words from Guodong deeply moved the man, and he immediately agreed to go. "Thank you, Professor Lin. Thank you so much." The scene then quickly shifts to a dark, run-down-looking research facility. Wheeled down the corridor right behind Guodong, Zhang Cheng looked around with curiosity and began to ask him, "I am so sorry to bother you, but how did Abu turn into that monster? He was totally fine." Right after the injection was done, they only managed a few steps. At this point, he paused, his face suddenly tightening with a dead serious expression. As he repeated his words, the shot was barely in, but Guodong calmly cut Zhang Cheng off before he could complain further. An extreme case of rejection like this is incredibly rare. We will run a full checkup and get the absolute best treatment plan ready for you. They stopped right outside the quarantine zone. Zhang Qing, completely in the dark, cried out in panic. Wait, what do you mean by rejection? Seeing his face grow paler by the second, he desperately tried to find any excuse to run. Maybe I should just go home and rest. Just give me some antibiotics and I'm good. Unmoved, Guodong swiped his keycard to open the heavy door. Then he turned around and gave Zhang Qiang a cold warning. For science, and for yourself, you need to quiet down. Instantly, Zhang Cheng's wheelchair was shoved inside. He screamed out in pure terror. No, stop, please do not do this. Zhang Cheng's eyes widened in sheer panic, screaming at the top of his lungs. But his cries were instantly cut short as the door slammed shut, displaying the words in quarantine. As night settled in, Chen Xiao lay back on his sofa, staring blankly into the empty air, deep in thought. Glancing to the side, he could not help but wonder what Lin Guodong was really up to this time. Suddenly, a strange noise shattered his train of thought, instantly catching Chen Xiao's full attention. Right outside his apartment door, a well-groomed hand reached out and gently pressed the buzzer on the intercom panel. The small screen lit up, showing Guodong with a polite smile. Chen Xiao, it is Professor Lin. Do you have a moment for us to chat? Standing at the door, Guodong put on his best, most elegant fake smile to greet him. Chen Xiao, you really do live here. Sorry to drop by so late like this. My bad. Looking up at the night sky with a fake poetic air, he sighed. The world is quite wild today, but these clouds are blocking all the stars. Before the professor could finish, Chen Xiao's heavy security door clicked and swung wide open. Standing there with crossed arms, Chen Xiao coldly questioned his unexpected visitor. Professor Lin, it is past midnight. What brings you here? Guodong stepped inside, offering a calm, smooth reply. I heard you set up base here, so I just wanted to drop by. Chen Xiao's brow furrowed slightly. He thought to himself, the man actually came straight to his door, even faster than he had anticipated. Since the professor had shown up on his own, Chen Xiao would handle him. But before he could speak, Guodong beat him to it, saying, who would have thought we would meet again so soon? Moments later, the two of them walked over to the living room of the safe house. Chen Xiao leaned against the wall, watching Guodong scan the room from the couch. The professor spoke up. This house is quite unique, is not it? Guodong looked around the entire room, evaluating every single detail with deep suspicion. Double-layered heat insulation, an independent water filtration system. This is no ordinary apartment. It looks exactly like a tactical safe house, does not it? His calm demeanor suddenly vanished, replaced by a deadly serious expression. Did you somehow know beforehand that this extreme heat wave was coming? Chen Xiao did not flinch, giving a highly sarcastic shrug in response. I bought a renovation package during the big November 11th sale. The contractor claimed it would last 50 years. Honestly, I thought he was bluffing. Turns out the guy was a prophet. Hearing this obvious dodge, Guodong narrowed his eyes. Very amusing, Chen Xiao. But I actually came here today to get some real answers. He casually crossed his legs, folded his arms, and asked, your neighbor's father is dead, did you know? Also, Zhang Yang, the guy who caused you trouble, he died recently too. Guodong dropped the heavy hint with a cold stare. I personally examined their bodies. Their neck bones were completely sliced through in an instant. The cuts were incredibly clean, almost like surgical laser incisions. Wounds like those cannot be made by any ordinary blade. Frankly, even top-tier military gear would fail to do that. Chen Xiao caught the heavy implication instantly, his lips curling into a subtle, relaxed smirk. Playing dumb, he asked with mock curiosity, could it be that the weapons came from the same manufacturer? Chen Xiao put on an innocent act, begging for details. Professor Lin, if you ever crack this case, you simply must tell me all about it. Amused by his foolish act, Guodong scoffed. And why is that? Why don't you tell me what you would use it for? Chen Xiao grinned cheerfully. To slice steak, obviously. With this crazy heat ruining the fridge, the meat gets tough. I need a top-quality blade. Upon hearing that absurd excuse, the professor's face immediately darkened in irritation. The system screen flashed Guodong's speechless index, up by 12. Suppressing his growing annoyance, the professor forced a normal expression and steered the conversation back on track. But no matter how you look at it, they were likely taken out by the exact same killer. Someone with terrifyingly professional skills. Definitely not your average street thug. Dropping his playful smirk, Chen Xiao adjusted his expression and looked straight at him. Well, maybe those guys just ran into some bad luck. They messed with the wrong person. Guodong stopped playing games and got straight to the point. I heard that every single one of them had a major grudge against you. As those words left his mouth, the air in the room instantly turned ice cold. Chen Xiao lowered his head, letting out a subtle smile to break the heavy silence. Professor Lin, you really know how to joke. How could a regular guy like me have that kind of power? But bringing a medical kit to my place tonight, don't tell me you think I'm on my deathbed too? Right then, the mysterious container Guo Dong set on the table was finally revealed to be a medical kit. Chen Xiao casually slipped his hands into his pockets and continued. Besides, I don't remember ever telling you where I live. So, how did you find me? Guo Dong seemed to be waiting for this exact question. He slid his phone across the table. Do you recognize this guy? He's the one who told me where you were staying. The moment Chen Xiao saw the phone screen, his heart skipped a violent beat. The screen showed Zhang Chong hooked up to a mass of medical tubes and wires. Chen Xiao hesitated, then carefully asked, Zhang Chang is with you? Guo Dong replied with an air of fake righteousness. He was badly hurt. I am saving his life. Chen Xiao acted worried. So, how is he doing now? He looked concerned, but inside, he was absolutely thrilled. Zhang Chang was tough to kill, but falling into the hands of this devious old fox meant a fate far worse than death. Guo Dong didn't notice anything suspicious. He confidently explained that the patient was currently adapting to a revolutionary new treatment. In this extreme heat, the human body will evolve. Zhang Chang is just a little bit ahead of the curve. Chen Xiao's mind raced at those words. What did that even mean? Was this crazy scientist actually conducting illegal experiments on living human subjects? Pushing his curiosity aside, he got straight to the point. So, what is your actual reason for coming to find me? Right then, the video feed on the phone screen suddenly flickered, and Zhang Chang's hand began to twitch violently. Then, his entire body convulsed as his eyes snapped open, glowing a deep, bloody red. A second later, he bolted upright with a wild scream, tearing off his oxygen mask. The system instantly flashed a bright red warning. His vitals were spiking completely out of control, with the genetic mutation rate hitting 37%. After watching this unfold, Guo Dong pulled out a syringe, set it down, and spoke. This is an immunity booster that I personally researched and developed. It can block countless pathogens thriving in this extreme heat, and it has zero side effects. Chen Xiao stared at the syringe slid toward him, casually dry jeering. The color kind of looks like blueberry soda. Do I have to shake it before drinking? Hearing this, Guo Dong felt completely helpless, as the system once again pulled up his emotional stats. Speechless plus 38. Despite his internal irritation, he kept his composure as Chen Xiao picked up the vial to inspect it, continuing his sales pitch. I know you are no ordinary guy. This heat wave is permanent, and the world is changing forever. The survival rate of normal humans is under 10%, but a select few are destined to evolve. Hearing this, Chen Xiao smirked with pure sarcasm. Evolving? By using Zhang Chang as a lab rat like that? Guo Dong pushed up his glasses with supreme arrogance. That scientific progress always requires pioneers to lead the way. Your body possesses much more stable evolutionary markers. If we work together, we can find a way to help all of humanity adapt to this new world. Now that the scientist had laid his cards on the table, Chen Xiao stopped playing dumb. He bluntly fired back. And what if I refuse? Guo Dong stood up, completely unbothered by the rejection, and countered. No need to rush your decision. The scorching heat will persist, and with it, plagues, diseases, and mutated beasts will soon overrun us. Partner with me, and my advanced knowledge and technology will ensure you survive much longer. A smug smile played on his lips. I will leave this serum with you. Once you have thought this over, the front doors to my laboratory are always open to you. With that, Guo Dong turned and left. Chen Xiao calmly watched him go, fully aware the man was sizing him up. Incredible mental fortitude. Truly top-tier defensive instincts. He is definitely no ordinary human. A living specimen is infinitely more valuable than raw genetic data. Chen Xiao, you cannot escape me. Once he was gone, Chen Xiao stared at the syringe and sighed. This sinister hypocrite was truly dangerous, experimenting on living humans while talking like a savior. Chen Xiao stared at the vial, lost in thought. He made his choice. If he didn't eliminate this threat, there would be no peace. With a cold, hostile glint in his eyes, he muttered, if you want to study evolution so badly, then I'll show you what true evolution actually looks like. The scene shifts back to the dark underground laboratory. A pair of bloodshot, amber eyes filled with excruciating pain snapped wide open, desperately struggling to focus. Zhang Chang clutched his rapidly mutating body, roaring out in agony. At that moment, a body camera hung around his neck, feeding real-time footage to the high-tech observation room shielded behind thick glass. Technicians quickly reported stable vitals, adrenaline levels spiking past the threshold, and the mutation process reaching absolute completion. His remaining brain activity has officially dropped to 0. Hearing those reports, Guodong watched the monitors with absolute satisfaction, declaring a complete success. After all, hatred, fear, and suffering are the absolute. Grinning with pure excitement, he barked out a direct command. Zhang Qiang, you have been reborn. Now, go complete your first mission and bring Chen Xiao back to me. He wanted Chen Xiao alive. Standing behind him, Su Rui had been watching silently before speaking up about using living, breathing humans to manufacture these monsters. This was what her professor always praised as the future of human evolution. Guodong turned around, flashing a patronizing smirk as he answered his student. Su Rui, this is your very first hands-on experiment since starting university. Tell me, how does it feel? Stunned by his sudden question about activating Project 20, Su Rui broke out in a nervous, cold sweat as she answered. She nervously pointed out that conducting experiments on actual humans completely crossed all ethical boundaries, causing Guodong's expression to immediately sour as he prepared to argue back. Morals? In the apocalypse, morality is a useless luxury. His sacrifice is going to secure a real chance of survival for countless other people. Ignoring her protests entirely, the professor reached over and slammed his hand onto the big red button on the console to issue the final order. Zhang Qiang, release and deploy now. On command, Zhang Qiang's grotesquely swollen and muscular frame roared to life, beginning to move. Watching this, Guodong flashed a sinister, pleased grin, repeating his directive, bring Chen Xiao back, and remember to keep him alive. The moment those words left his mouth, Zhang Qiang smashed through the heavy iron door, bursting outside. Under a cool, moonlit night sky, the dilapidated old apartment complexes stood silently, bathed in a pale, eerie glow. Suddenly, a powerful dark silhouette began leaping effortlessly from rooftop to rooftop, but when he approached a balcony with a wide-open door, Zhang Qiang abruptly skidded to, extending his strangely elongated snout. He began sniffing the night air, intensely focusing on tracking down a specific scent. The moment he caught the exact scent he was looking for, he snapped his head back to investigate. Just a few paces away, Chen Xiao was leaning casually against a tree, looking effortless as he asked if it was really him. Asking how he managed to end up looking like this after just a few days, Chen Xiao threw him a deeply mocking smirk, tauntingly asking whether he should keep calling him Zhang Qiang or switch to a common dog name like Lucky. Chen Xiao absolutely pushed him over the edge. The system immediately popped up, notifying him of a massive 1,000 points of anger, as Zhang Qiang growled out a furious threat, screaming that Chen Xiao was dead meat. The beast charged, while Chen Xiao watched his degraded state with a highly critical eye. He noted how beastification actually amplified human emotions, yielding a return rate that was easily 30% higher than expected. Finding it quite intriguing, Chen Xiao suddenly turned around and dashed forward, baiting his opponent to follow him to a much wider, open area. He refused to throw down, right outside his apartment, warning that a fight here would bother the neighbors and trash his secure safe house. And besides, the monster could never pay for the damages. Instantly, the intense chase began. Zhang Qiang pursued him all the way to an abandoned, decaying parking lot before completely losing his target. Exploiting a momentary lapse in the beast's defense, Chen Xiao suddenly leaped from the shadows, ready to test his space-severing technique on him. However, when the heavy blow finally connected with Zhang Qiang, it failed to leave even a single scratch on his skin. Observing the impact, Chen Xiao frowned, noting the beast's hide had grown incredibly thick, while a furious Zhang Qiang gritted his teeth and growled out his name. Without wasting a single second, the monster charged straight ahead, but Chen Xiao swiftly vaulted into the air to dodge the strike. Darting to another corner of the parking lot, he kept throwing savage insults to keep his opponent off balance, mocking him for always being all muscle and no brains. He laughed that now the beast could not even speak a coherent sentence. Instantly, the system flashed another massive 1,200 rage points, even as a roaring Zhang Qiang relentlessly pursued him like a rabid beast. Chen Xiao kept pushing his buttons, loudly mocking the monster's current appearance as absolutely hideous. He did not stop there, redirecting his insults toward Guodong by shouting that the professor had a downright atrocious sense of style. He mockingly offered to hook him up with a stylist next time, but the moment the words left his mouth, Zhang Qiang abruptly froze in place. Something began to wriggle and twitch violently on the beast's shoulders as another system notification flashed on screen. a massive 2,000 rage points registered. Sensing the abrupt halt, a puzzled Chen Xiao stopped as well, wondering what was happening to him. Before he could even process the strange shift, a massive, towering silhouette suddenly materialized directly behind his back. Startled by the sudden change, Chen Xiao spun around to face the threat. Zhang Qiang, now grown even more massive, roared as deadly. Razor-sharp spikes erupted directly from his flesh, launching a barrage of attacks at Chen Xiao. Caught completely off guard by the lightning-fast assault, Chen Xiao clutched a bleeding wound on his abdomen, muttering a grim curse. Sharp bone spikes. Over in the lab, Guo Dong watched them through the camera on Zhang Qiang's neck. He cheered, in pure excitement, realizing a double mutation and emotional spike could actually trigger an evolved form. Su Rui logged the data. Watching Guo Dong look less and less human, she grew deeply anxious from behind. She quietly wondered if this was truly the path to saving humanity. Meanwhile, things in the parking lot grew extremely tense as Chen Xiao was already injured. He knelt on the ground as a frenzied Zhang Qiang prepared to strike again. Fueled by absolute rage, sharp bone spikes erupted all over Zhang Qiang. His eyes rolled back as he roared Chen Xiao's name. Veins bulged across his face as he snarled to go die. He stomped his foot, shattering the concrete under him into deep cracks. Without hesitation, Zhang charged forward like a massive meteor, sending debris flying everywhere. Closing the distance, he swung his massive arm, slashing violently right at Chen Xiao. Luckily, Chen Xiao dodged just in time, but Zhang Qiang followed up with a surprise strike, hitting him head-on. Looking at the blood spreading across his shirt, he bit his lip and endured. Suddenly, a red system alert flashed. Spatial slash, intermediate at 87%. The target's energy was still rising. Chen Xiao gritted his teeth, knowing he was just a little. Scheming quickly, an idea struck him. He looked up and yelled, "Zhang Qiang, is this all you have? Just because you grow a few bones, you think you are a porcupine?" Surprisingly, his taunt actually worked wonders. It drove Zhang Qiang absolutely insane. Rage plus 1,000, resentment plus 1,000. Chen Xiao kept his face completely calm. With a smirk, he continued, "Back when you were collecting protection money in the old district, at least you had the guts to swing a steel pipe back then. Now, you stab a little, grow a few bones, and think you are actually a big deal?" As Chen Xiao spoke, Zhang Qiang mutated even further, throwing his head back to howl like a rabid animal. Chen Xiao kept mocking him, saying that Dr. Lin tells him who to bite, and he just does it, like a loyal dog. On the monitor, Zhang Qiang's stats were clear as day, showing rage plus 1,700. Watching this, Guo Dong cried out in absolute delight, saying this was perfect. His emotional levels broke the limit, and bone density increased by 5%. Chen Xiao was a savior for helping push him further. With malicious expectation in his eyes, he wanted Zhang Qiang to get even angrier, to test his ultimate limits. Standing in the back, Su Rui was trembling with worry, wondering what on earth Chen Xiao was doing. Meanwhile, Zhang Qiang underwent yet another terrifying mutation. Tensing his muscles, bone spikes launched from his body like a hail of stray bullets. Undeterred, Chen Xiao casually dodged each projectile, mocking him by asking if that was all he had. He then turned and dashed away, shouting for Zhang Qiang to bring it on, driving the monster even madder. The system reported rage plus 2,800. Chen Xiao locked his gaze right on the target. The system prompted that negative emotions hit 30,000, unlocking destructive spatial rift. It asked if he wanted to evolve it immediately. Without a second thought, he accepted. Chen Xiao had been waiting for this exact moment to strike, raising his hand toward Zhang Qiang. A devastating wave of energy erupted from the newly formed rift. Before Zhang Qiang could even comprehend what was happening, the spatial rift clean severed his arm. Zhang Qiang collapsed, howling in agonizing pain over his missing arm. Chen Xiao watched his pathetic state. Feeling absolutely no pity, Chen Xiao simply scoffed, bending down to rip the tracking device right off Zhang Qiang's neck. With a cold smirk, Chen Xiao looked into the lens, telling Professor Lin his test subject was a disappointment. He suggested sending someone who could actually fight next time before cutting the feed, leaving Guo Dong in absolute, silent fury. He growled Chen Xiao's name, but then a twisted, bizarre smile formed on his face. Laughing like an absolute maniac, he muttered that Chen Xiao was truly extraordinary, vowing that he would capture him sooner or later. Meanwhile, back at the scene, Zhang Qiang lay motionless as Chen Xiao crouched down to pat his head. Calling Zhang Qiang pathetic, he offered to send him on his way, coldly adding there was no need to thank him. Just then, footsteps echoed behind them. A figure emerged from the shadows, dressed in an expensive, high-end suit. The stranger clapped his hands, calling the show spectacular. Chen Xiao leaped to his feet, demanding to know who was there. On high alert, Chen Xiao watched closely as the mysterious man slowly walked closer and closer to him, pulling out a handkerchief to cover his nose. The man sighed that the smell of death was always so raw. He was Chen Xiao. With that, Chen Xiao smiled warmly, turning back to offer more praise. All right, you and I can agree that last fight was absolutely spectacular. This dark era might bring despair, but it is also the dawn of rising gods. Even though the guy had not crossed any lines yet, Chen Xiao still gave him a cold shoulder. Energy coiled in Chen Xiao's palm, ready to strike at any second. Seeing this, Shihang smiled, saying, Chen Xiao, this precision, this level of destructive power. You are definitely no half-baked prototype made by that lunatic Lin Guodong. Annoyed, Chen Xiao asked if he knew Lin Guodong, suspecting him as an accomplice. Shihang replied, No, we are completely different. I am here to stop his endless tragedies. In fact, those anonymous warnings telling you to stay away from him were mine. Chen Xiao grew even more suspicious of this man's true identity. So he was the one behind those anonymous texts. How did you get my number? Chen Xiao demanded, as Shihang held out a business card to introduce himself. The ARC Coalition has its own intelligence network, so finding you was incredibly easy. My name is Chen Shihang, and I represent the ARC. Join us, and we can grant you true, perfect evolution. Chen Xiao realized in this lifetime, this man's awakening happened earlier. Shihang continued, explaining that unlike Lin Guodong's life-draining, body-twisting mutations, they offer an upgrade that keeps sanity and appearance fully intact. Intrigued, Chen Xiao asked. Shihang explained that they were an organization seeking awakened ones. We believe the world is facing a massive shift, and only true elites will board the ark of the new era. You clearly possess that level of potential. Join us, Chen Xiao, and I will give you what Lin Guodong never could. We can help you become stronger than ever, and not through some hideous mutation, but by keeping your sanity, gaining supreme power, and walking a path to true godhood. After standing there listening to all that high and mighty talk, Chen Xiao finally spoke up. The path to godhood? Sounds like you are just another arrogant bastard. Shihang froze in utter confusion. Before he could even react, Chen Xiao flicked his hand, slicing the card clean in half. Shihang stared in disbelief as Chen Xiao offered a smug grin. Oops, my hand slipped. My bad. With those words, Chen Xiao casually brushed past him, adding, Personally, I absolutely despise having anyone else plan my life for me. So whether it is a lunatic like Lin Guodong, or a self-proclaimed elite hypocrite like you, I will never choose either of you. I walk my own path, Chen Xiao declared, his sharp gaze cutting deep. I am used to flying solo. I do not need anyone lecturing me on how to live, let alone joining some ARC cult. Despite the harsh rejection, Shihang did not lose his temper. Instead, his interest only grew. The kid had serious attitude. A smirk spread across his face as he watched Chen Xiao walk away. I like you more and more. The two turned and walked in completely opposite directions. In a world on the brink of collapse, growing wild and lawless might buy you some time, but it never lasts forever. So really, with those final words, Shihang vanished. When you finally realize that a single man's strength has limits, the gates of the Ark will be wide open to welcome you. System notification. Disdain from Chen Shihang, +99. Speechless state from Chen Shihang, +5. Surprise from Chen Shihang, +66. Wariness from Chen Shihang, +50. Chen Zhao found this rather amusing. The guy seemed emotionally stable, yet he still racked up quite a few negative points. Chen Xiao's brows arched slightly. Limits? Then he would just shatter them. In his mind, the face of Lin Guodong appeared the enemy he had to destroy. But first, it was time to finish Lin Guodong. You and I can see he has arrived at an abandoned research facility shrouded in dust. Striding forward, Chen Xiao walked right up to the heavily rusted metal door. He raised his hand and snapped his fingers. Instantly, the solid metal door tore open, leaving a massive gaping hole. The scene waiting inside that abandoned facility was enough to give anyone pure goosebumps. Horrific, inhumane test subjects lay scattered everywhere, under a heavy stench of death. Massive glass tubes, filled with strange liquids, held the shriveled, lifeless bodies of victims. Disgusted, Chen Xiao thought to himself that this repulsive nightmare was what Lin Guodong called scientific progress. Scanning the room, he decided this wretched place needed to be burned to ashes. But right then, Lin Guodong finally emerged from the shadows. Welcome, Chen Xiao. I knew you would come, Lin Guodong said, pushing up his glasses. How could a perfect specimen like you settle for a normal life? Zhang Meng failed, of course. But if his death brought you to me, then he died for a worthy cause. With a twisted smile, he asked, have you finally seen the light? Ready to sacrifice yourself for humanity's future? Hearing his utterly shameless speech, Chen Xiao grimaced in pure disgust. But the mad scientist wasn't done talking yet. Reason is what guides humanity's true arc. Chen Shiheng and his followers are just a bunch of hypocrites wearing divine robes. Listen, Chen Xiao, every single leap in human progress is built upon piles of corpses. Stepping over blood is done. Your power is a gift from heaven, too precious to waste on mortal trivialities. Once he finished speaking, Chen Xiao cleaned his ear and asked, are you done yet? Putting on an expression that showed he didn't care at all. Human progress? What's that got to do with me? He then looked at Guo Dong. I didn't care about your garbage affairs, but you shouldn't have. An attack was already charging in Chen Xiao's hand. As he finished his sentence, disturbed my peace. He looked straight at him and declared, so, I have no choice but to make you disappear. But before Chen Xiao could strike, Guo Dong pulled out a device. Chen Xiao, you're still too young. I let you in, so obviously, I have a way to keep you here. After your battle with Zhang Qing, how much stamina do you even have left? You might as well cooperate and stay by my side to avoid getting hurt. His face darkened as he shot back. And what if I say no? Hearing that, Guo Dong immediately pressed a red button on his remote and replied, then you have only one ending left. All around Chen Xiao, the giant glass chambers suddenly shattered simultaneously, sending sharp shards flying everywhere. Sensing that something was terribly wrong, he squinted up, only to see the ferocious monsters, created by Guo Dong, charging straight at him. With savage looks, they screamed, become my ultimate test subjects. The three massive beasts closed in on him, getting closer by the second. In the nick of time, Chen Xiao dodged the attack. Swiftly, he unleashed a flurry of rapid slashes straight at the monsters. The blow severed its arm completely. Standing safely in the back, Guo Dong just wouldn't shut his arrogant mouth. Chen Xiao, stay here. I can make you far stronger. He sneered in pure contempt and asked, you think you can stop me with these brainless things? With that, Chen Xiao shattered the adjacent glass chambers and slipped past. Stamina is running low. Gotta end this quickly. The monsters couldn't react in time as the sharp glass impaled them. Seizing the opening, he delivered a fatal blow to finish them instantly. And just like that, Chen Xiao successfully took down all three of the massive beasts. He looked up with a smirk. And here, I thought you actually had some real skill. You really thought three weak monsters could hold me back? He paced toward Guo Dong. Professor Lin, you're the naive one here, wasting 40 to 50 years of your life. Terrified, the professor stood frozen in place, unable to move a muscle. Chen Xiao coldly added, it's over. Let me send you on your way. Those words sounded like a death sentence. As Guo Dong's eyes widened, he collapsed to the ground, coughing violently as he struggled to speak. Chen Xiao, you really are formidable. But I've already sent out all the data on the mutation serum. Without warning, a deep gash opened on Guo Dong's neck, blood spilling out. The seeds are sown. This world is about to get way more interesting. Chen Xiao's face turned pale at the news. Clutching his wounded shoulder, he turned to leave, only for an unexpected voice to call out. Leaving like that? You won't even make it home, the voice warned. Startled, Chen Xiao spun around, demanding if she was Guodong's assistant. The speaker was none other than Su Rui, who quickly reassured him to calm down, claiming she meant no harm. Handing him a mysterious vial, she explained it was a regeneration serum, capable of stopping his bleeding and stabilizing his severe wounds. Despite her words, Chen Xiao refused to take the serum, his eyes filled with suspicion as he hesitated. Staring at her with intense wariness, Chen Xiao watched as Su Rui stepped closer, urging him that the medicine was safe and warning of rapid infection. Chen Xiao grimaced, his voice heavy with skepticism. Why should I trust you? Right after Guodong dies, you conveniently offer this? He sneered. Her face turned serious as she acknowledged his doubt, but argued that he desperately needed her help. Su Rui chose not to force him, though her tone sounded almost authoritative. If you can walk, follow me, she said. Despite his lingering distrust, Chen Xiao followed as Su Rui led him to a hidden bunker stocked with food and survival gear. My mentor foresaw that this extreme heatwave would never dissipate, she murmured. He hoarded all of this for himself. He claimed to serve science, but he feared death more than anyone else. As Chen Xiao surveyed the shelter, she noted that since Guodong was gone, she would also be leaving this place behind. Take what you need as his apology, she offered. Glaring at her with cold, piercing eyes, Chen Xiao questioned her intent. You're leaving? Chen Xiao asked. Looking down, Surui explained. She had joined the professor's program believing he was a genuine scientist who wanted to help humanity. With eyes full of sorrow, she admitted she only recently discovered his horrific human experiments. Revealing her future plans, she confessed that despite never participating in his crimes, she was still his assistant and must now head north to pursue ethical research. If I survive, I want to engineer a real cure, not toxic formulas designed to create mindless monsters. As her figure faded into the distance with newfound resolve, she hoped their next meeting would be in a better, rebuilt world. Chen Xiao quietly watched Surui depart, though his mind was already occupied by far different, calculating thoughts. Protective gear, medicine, water filters. Guodong had certainly prepared well for the end. Chen Xiao smirked, pressing a tiny black vortex-like button on his device. Too bad, but it belongs to me now. Flicking his lighter, Chen Xiao casually scans his surroundings. He got what he came for, meaning this place has outlived its usefulness. With everything packed, he burns the room to absolute ash. Back home, Chen Xiao holds up a small, mysterious box, examining it with curiosity. He glances at the nearby thermometer. Outside, the heat has crossed a brutal 58 degrees. Vegetation is completely withered, and global weather stations have just issued yet another catastrophic red alert. Multiple regions worldwide have officially shattered 58 degrees. The Earth is taking a massive beating. Global permafrost is melting rapidly, releasing colossal amounts of toxic methane. Experts warn that the greenhouse effect is trapped in an irreversible, vicious loop. Ordinary people simply cannot survive this extreme heat. When will this nightmare end? Disgusted by the news, Chen Xiao abruptly shuts off the receiver. The system alerts him. Negative emotion points are too low to upgrade his pocket dimension. He calculates his options. His supplies are secure for now, but with conditions worsening daily, he desperately needs to power up. A genius plan hits him. He will use water as currency, harvest some negative emotions, and clear out his massive stockpile. Chen Xiao immediately shoots a text to Mu Kang. Bro, how is the water business? Need me to restock you? Mu Kang replies instantly. Man, you are a lifesaver. I am completely dry. Let us meet up tonight for a trade. Deep inside a dark, secluded alley, the two meet up. Mu Kang smirks, boasting about his incredibly stealthy, professional setup. As a customer approaches, Chen Xiao stands. The man desperately asks for a trade, wondering how much water he can get. Chen Xiao names his price. Normally, these goods are easily worth 2 bottles, but the hooded man just stands there, speechless. Mocking him, Chen Xiao sneers. But do I look like a reasonable guy? You get 1 bottle. Take it or leave it. A wicked grin spreads across Chen Xiao's face. Oh, mad? Fine, price just went up. Now you have to thank me. Thank you, Brother Xiao. You are a saint. Meanwhile, the system dings, pocketing 33 sweet points of pure rage. The man is fuming but helpless. Chen Xiao goads him. Silent? Guess I will just raise the price again. Swallowing his pride, the man forced out the required praise. Thank you, Brother Xiao. You are a true saint. Chen Xiao just stands there, looking down on him. Good boy. Next time bring more, and you can have half a bottle. The system dings with 791 rage points. Later, Chen Xiao spots Uncle Wang carrying water. Uncle Wang, up late? The old man explains that Aunt Yu next door is struggling alone with her sick grandson. The boy got heatstroke, and with constant power and water outages, she simply cannot cope on her own. I am bringing her some water. Chen Xiao flashes a fake, warning smile. Water is incredibly precious these days, old man. You should really look out for yourself first, Uncle Wang sighs. I know, but I am old and lived my life. I cannot stand seeing a child suffer. He stubbornly walks over to deliver the water. Oh, Brother Wang, you are a saint. Thank you. Uncle Wang quickly urges. Hurry, give him some water. Yet, the moment his back is turned, she secretly curses him. Greedy old fool. Only bringing 2 lousy bottles. Tomorrow, she plans to cry even harder to trick him into giving her an entire bucket. Aunt Yun slips away to a room by the stairs and knocks. Zhao Qian opens up, asking why she is there so late. Bowing deeply, she hands him the water. Master Zhao, here is today's humble offering. Zhao Qian takes it with a smug grin. Meanwhile, Mu Shu stares at his phone, his face darkening as a troubling text chat pops up. The buyer apologized and canceled. Sitting in the corner, Chen Xiao mutters in frustration. That makes 3 cancellations in a row. He suddenly realizes it isn't just bad luck. Someone is actively targeting their little operation. A noise from the dark alley catches their attention. A cultist appears with a mob, pointing straight at them, shouting, "Right there!" Clutching his water bottle, Chen Xiao spins around as a thug steps forward, clenching his fists menacingly. "Chen Xiao, you shouldn't have been secretly selling water on the side." The shirt-wearing thug eagerly agrees, loudly condemning him for his selfish actions. "You are tricking people into accepting this evil commercial water," he shouts, pointing directly at Chen Xiao, who just stands there looking slightly confused. "Your sins are unforgivable." Hearing this, Chen Xiao just flashes a smug grin. "If clean water is evil, then what do you drink? Your own pee? Is that your secret drink?" Stunned and speechless, the humiliated cultist turns completely red, unable to handle the mockery. "Screw you! How dare you accuse us of drinking pee?" As his system rewards 12 points of shame, another cultist speaks up. "We belong to the sacred clean water sect. The water you sell is obtained by selfishly draining the planet of its vital natural resources. Only by drinking the water purified by Lord Zhao Qian himself can we hope to cleanse our sins from spreading any further." Glaring like he wants to rip Chen Xiao apart, the cultist snaps. "So hand over all your water to Master Zhao Qian right now." He froze completely. "Huh?" Then the man raised his hands high as if worshipping some god. "Global warming is God's punishment for humanity. Your reckless exploitation of the Earth's resources and destruction of the environment have finally forced the Almighty." He kept rambling on with this absolute nonsense, claiming only extreme rationing can earn us God's forgiveness, and that Lord Zhao Qian is the true representative of the Almighty. The moment he finished speaking, his loyal follower immediately turned and pressured Chen Xiao. "You better offer your water to Lord Zhao Qian right now. Otherwise, imminent doom will destroy you. So join our Clean Water Association already." Chen Xiao just sneered with pure contempt. "I thought it was actually something important, but it is just a bunch of pathetic cowards falling for a cult." The guy in the shirt snapped. "What did you say?" The leader didn't look angry, but tried to coax Chen Xiao into joining. "You have not witnessed Lord Zhao Qian perform miracles, so we can overlook this. Once you see him with your own eyes, you will kneel and worship him just like the rest of us." Mu Kang scoffed coldly, muttering that they were just playing cheap tricks. Chen Xiao playfully raised his water bottle and twisted the cap open. "What did you guys just say? That my water is evil and drinking it brings down divine punishment?" He took a huge gulp, letting the water spill everywhere, before dealing a savage blow. "So refreshing." The leader was absolutely furious but completely powerless. "Wasting precious water like that. You are truly beyond saving, and karma will find you soon." The cultist went absolutely wild, calling him a filthy animal. Instantly, system notifications began spamming. Church anger plus 45. Church disgust plus 38. Church helplessness plus 27. Chen Xiao smiled slyly. Ruining their peace of mind was way more fun than just enjoying the water alone. "You guys worship that Zhao Qian guy like he is some god, right?" So Chen Xiao laid down a deeply offensive yet incredibly tempting challenge. "Whoever stands up and curses Zhao Qian as a total bastard gets a whole bucket of water. One insult, one full bucket." The leader remained unshaken, but his two followers behind him exchanged a look of pure shock. "Blasphemy. Your sins are completely unforgivable." System rage increased by 99. But then, both followers spoke up right in front of their frozen leader. "Can we really get water just by cursing him?" Chen Xiao flashed a devilish grin. "Absolutely. A promise is a promise." The leader went ballistic, screaming at his followers. "You idiots, shut the hell up right now." Suddenly, a follower in the back shouted out loud, "Zhao Qian is a total bastard." The furious leader immediately ordered his men to grab him. The two pinned him down, but the rebel kept begging for water, unable to take the thirst. Chen Xiao shook his head, acting disappointed. "Guess he simply is not worthy of enjoying my water." After a brief scuffle, the cultists finally decided to retreat, grunting in annoyance. Mu Kang watched them leave and sighed in relief, though still worried. "That scared me to death. But strangely, they did not even try to attack you." Chen Xiao smiled. "You think it is that simple? This is far from over. But if they keep trying to stop us from selling water," his eyes flared with murderous intent, "we will have to wipe them out completely." Dark, filthy alleyways were plastered with posters declaring, "The end of days is here. The Clean Water Association will save humanity, so stop drinking dirty water." Under the cover of darkness, Chen Xiao approached their massive castle, assessing it quietly as he planned. Pure violence would only cause a worse backlash from the public. After all, He still needed to interact with these survivors to harvest their precious negative emotions. He wanted to see what kind of man this Zhao Qian really was. Inside the dark hall lit only by moonlight, Zhao Qian sat on a throne, with a motionless girl sprawled out on the floor before him. Watching from a glass window, Chen Xiao witnessed the scene as Zhao Qian held a bottle of clean water. "Look closely, everyone," the cult leader announced. He slowly poured the water onto Lin Jing, who lay exhausted on the ground, before she weakly opened her eyes. The cultists watched in complete awe. Just a splash of his water was enough to instantly cure severe heat stroke. No wonder he is Lord Zhao Qian. We will follow you forever. Watching this, Chen Xiao wondered, is that girl acting? Or is Zhao Qian actually an awakened? Lin Jing, crying tears of absolute gratitude, looked up and sobbed. "Lord Zhao Qian, I cannot possibly repay you for saving my life. Please let me stay and serve you." Zhao Qian replied with a look of extreme superiority. "Do not worry, for the Lord remembers every sacrifice, while the greedy will face judgment. This brutal heat is simply God's way of purging the weak." His greedy eyes were locked onto Lin Jing's voluptuous body, even as his mouth continued spewing righteous words of holy salvation. "Only those who believe can survive this trial," he preached. But those lecherous eyes of his completely betrayed his utterly disgusting, perverted thoughts. "The Lord remembers every act of devotion." Zhao Qian then turned to the crowd. "Bring me your contaminated water so that I may purify it for you." Just then, a guard spotted Chen Xiao approaching and barked angrily. "Chen Xiao, what do you think you are doing?" he roared. "The unclean are not permitted to enter here." Suddenly, Chen Xiao folded his hands and spoke with mock sincerity. "Please forgive me. I was blind to the truth." Outside, it was getting hotter by the second, the water boiling, and there was no telling what the world would become. No one understood why he kneeled to Zhao Qian. People were terrified, refusing to die like dogs in this heat. Behind Chen Xiao were endless barrels of water he had prepared. He put on an act, begging God for salvation, and offering to surrender his entire hoard of illegal goods. The sight left Zhao Qian and his men completely stunned. That was an insane amount of water. Right then, Zhao Qian spoke up, asking if he was Chen Xiao, adding that he knew about his heavy sins. But while Zhao Qian put on a show of lecturing Chen Xiao like some supreme savior, his greedy underlings were already busy hauling those massive water barrels inside. Since Chen Xiao was willing to repent, Zhao Qian claimed God would surely grant a lost soul another chance. Chen Xiao felt nothing but pure disgust for this hypocrite. What a joke. This con man took everyone's water, left them with just a tiny drop to stay alive, and had the nerve to call it holy water. Whether these people would survive the next month was highly doubtful, but Chen Xiao had to keep playing his part. After Chen Xiao thanked Zhao Qian, an elderly man suddenly ran over in a panic, screaming that Aunt Yun's granddaughter had collapsed with a purple face, looking severely dehydrated. Ling lay completely unconscious on the bed, as worried whispers echoed around her. How could this happen? She was perfectly fine during the day. Lu Yun was desperately worried for her little granddaughter, crying out that she had even given her the holy water. But in that moment, Chen Xiao noticed a suspicious detail. She was fine earlier. It turned out the grandmother's heat stroke claim was just a cheap trick to steal Uncle Wang's water. Desperate, Lu Yun quickly fell to her knees, begging Zhao Qian. She begged him to save her granddaughter, promising to offer even more. But Zhao Qian only replied with a cold sneer, asking what the rush was. God was not her babysitter, and if the holy water did not work, there was only one possible explanation. His cunning eyes flashed with malice as he slowly spat out the words. He claimed she lacked sincerity. Hearing this, Lu Yun gasped in absolute panic. She stammered that it was impossible, but Zhao Qian cut her off with a loud shout. Telling her to stop making excuses and repent, he announced to the crowd that he would perform a true miracle tomorrow at noon. He promised they would all witness it with their own eyes. Hearing this, the desperate crowd immediately started bowing and thanking him. As the crowd praised Zhao Qian, Chen Xiao simply smirked in disgust. Moments later, a man approached him and handed over a strange emblem to wear. He was officially welcomed into the Pure Water Society, though the man sneered mockingly as he spoke. Due to his massive water donation, Zhao Qian would overlook his past, but he was warned never to forget his sins. Chen Xiao calmly accepted the badge and put it on, laughing hysterically on the inside. These fools had no idea he had already hidden a tracking transmitter inside those donated water bottles. A short while later, he traced the signal and arrived right outside Zhao Qian's secret water vault. Using his powers, Chen Xiao easily breached the lock and stepped inside. The sight made him freeze, realizing the room was packed with mountains of supplies. Chen Xiao looked around and smirked with amusement, Just as he had predicted, there was no magical holy water whatsoever. It was all just a cheap scam designed to line Zhao Qian's greedy pockets. Suddenly, a noise echoed. Chen Xiao ducked into a corner and spotted Lin Jing talking to Zhao Qian. Right before Zhao Qian viciously slapped her across the face, he roared in anger, reminding her that she was supposed to play a recovering patient. But her ridiculously fast recovery was completely unconvincing. The poor girl apologized in a trembling voice, explaining that using her special ability drained too much of her stamina. Zhao Qian snorted coldly, calling her useless. He told her not to forget who dragged her out of hell. That exact moment made Chen Xiao realize that she was the actual awakened one. Lin Jing could only obediently whisper, "Yes, Brother Zhao." Chen Xiao never expected to uncover such a massive secret while just scouting the food vault. He smirked, realizing this dynamic opened up some very interesting possibilities. The residential block was dead silent. As Ah Ling lay exhausted on her bed, she suddenly heard stealthy footsteps entering the room. It was none other than Chen Xiao. With a quick wave of his hand, several bottles of water dropped down. They landed right on her bed, waking her up. Staring warily at Chen Xiao, she softly asked who he was. Chen Xiao coldly told her to drink them and survive the night to find out. The next morning came, as everyone gathered on the rooftop while Zhao Qian stood proudly on stage, looking incredibly cold and aloof. Suddenly, he sat flat on the concrete, putting on a grand show of being God's chosen messenger. He told them that as long as they believed, the brutal sun could never harm God's holy messenger. Right now, Lin Jing lowers her umbrella, letting the harsh sunlight hit Zhao Qian directly. The sight is so incredibly moving that Lu Yun bursts into tears. Completely swept up, it is totally fake. Watching from the crowd, Chen Xiao instantly sees right through Zhao Qian's little drama. Classic parlor trick. Zhao Qian is using an awakened power to brainwash the desperate crowd. Chen Xiao focuses his gaze on Lin Jing, the girl quietly fueling the scam with her own abilities. No one knows what Chen Xiao's power actually is, but suddenly, an invisible force disrupts the connection between Lin Jing and Zhao Qian. The disruptor is, of course, Chen Xiao. He figured if her heat manipulation travels through space, a simple spatial barrier would block it completely. Lin Jing instantly realizes something is off. Someone is blocking her energy from reaching Zhao Qian, cutting her connection. Right on cue, Zhao Qian feels the brutal, blistering heat of the sun baking his skin. He glares back, gritting his teeth at Lin Jing, demanding to know what she is doing. Terrified, she stammered that someone was sabotaging her from the shadows. She cannot channel her power to him here, but Zhao Qian does not care about her limits, shouting that he expects results regardless. He demands she stand by him and make this miracle happen, no matter what, to keep up his godly image. Lin Jing looks up at the blazing sun with dread. Under this extreme heat, her body will not hold up long. With her weak body, she would not last 3 minutes in that blazing heat. But then, she spots a highly familiar figure hiding in the crowd. The realization hits her instantly. The guy ruining their plan is none other than him. Feeling his skin sizzle under the sun, Zhao Qian whispers through his teeth, demanding she get over here and keep the illusion going. Lin Jing completely ignores his whining, her mind racing from a telepathic warning she just received directly from Chen Xiao. Chen Xiao offers her a lifeline, saying he will end Zhao Qian and take over. So switching sides now is her best bet. After a brief second of panic, she makes her choice. Lin Jing walks away without looking back, making Zhao Qian scream out in rage, calling her a useless piece of trash. Her sudden defiance leaves him stunned. Before anyone can react, Lin Jing slips behind Chen Xiao and wraps her arms around him, provoking an amused chuckle from the young man. Well, that was a pretty fast change of heart. Lin Jing decides to be fully honest, revealing that her ability is forced thermal dissipation. She explains that her power forces the heat inside a target's body to instantly release outward, cooling them down rapidly. Chen Xiao finds it incredibly convenient. But there is a dark secret about this ability that Lin Jing chooses to keep to herself for now. Her power can be targeted, forcing the heat to drain solely from the victim's head and heart. When the warmth vanishes from the head and chest in an instant, blood flow to the brain drops dangerously fast, causing immediate blackout. The sudden drop in blood pressure makes Chen Xiao's vision blur as intense dizziness hits him. What is happening? He can feel his internal temperature crashing as a massive, blinding headache hits him. Years ago, on a scorching day, a poor stray cat was panting, dying of heat stroke. A gentle voice begged it to survive, holding the creature close until its body temperature stabilized and it saved the cat. But the peaceful moment is shattered when an angry man throws open the window, screaming her name. He demands Lin Jing get her useless self back inside, before slamming her brutally onto the floor. Her abusive father shouts that he spent years feeding her, and now it is time to repay the debt. He coldly decides to trade her body to another man, just to get a few bottles of clean water. Terrified, Lin Jing begs him to let her go, but right at that moment, the door is kicked open as Zhao Qian enters. Her father jumps back in shock, demanding to know who it is. Zhao Qian simply looks on with utter disgust. Calling the sight completely repulsive, Zhao Qian immediately executes her father. Standing over the body, he addresses the trembling girl. Crouching down in front of her, Zhao Qian explains that he witnessed everything, seeing the dying cat spring back to life in her arms. He begins to weave a web of heavy psychological manipulation, telling her that her power is a divine gift. He invites her to join him and save the world together. Still in complete shock, Lin Jing can only stare at him blankly. Back in the present, Zhao Qian's thugs violently force Chen Xiao down to his knees. They bark orders at him, telling him to show some respect and bow before their supreme leader, Zhao Qian. Chen Xiao gives Zhao Qian a cold look. Before the thugs can even blink, he cleanly slices their heads off with zero effort. The brutal display sends the crowd screaming in sheer terror, calling him a demon. Ignoring the noise, Chen Xiao slowly walks up to Zhao Qian. These thugs have pillaged, burned homes, and abducted innocent people without a second thought. Yet the crowd actually worships these monsters. He scoffs at their stupidity, amazed at how easily desperate humans can be fooled. The only reason Chen Xiao has all this dirty laundry is thanks to the solid intel provided by Mu Kang. It is a detailed record of every crime Zhao Qian's cult has committed. Hearing this, Lu Yun gasps in disbelief, completely refusing to accept reality. As the crowd murmurs with doubt, Ah Ling suddenly steps forward, loudly accusing Chen Xiao of being a liar. As soon as Lu Yun saw the little girl, she cried out in joy. "Ling, are you okay?" It seemed this guy was lying. The little girl's presence made her absolutely sure this was a miracle performed by Zhao Qian. "My little Ling, after a night of my sincere prayers, has fully recovered. This is a miracle from Lord Zhao Qian." Hearing this, the crowd chanted together. "That is right. That is right. Hurry and restrain this evil demon." Suddenly, Ling asked in a loud voice, "Are you all suffering from some kind of illness?" She then pointed at Chen Xiao and declared, "The person who saved me is not that fake god you all believe in. It is this big brother here. He gave me electrolyte water and saved my life." It turned out that the previous night, Chen Xiao had given Ling electrolyte water to restore her energy and minerals. Furthermore, the little girl flatly asserted that otherwise, she would have died a miserable death because of her grandmother's superstition. Those words sent Liu Yun stumbling back in horror, and even Lin Jing was shocked by the sudden turn. Just then, she collapsed to the ground right in front of Chen Xiao. It turned out Zhao Qian had shot her, calling her useless for failing to protect his miracle. At this moment, her survival was uncertain. All they knew was that she had lost consciousness completely. Seeing she was not dead, Zhao Qian gritted his teeth in anger, muttering that she was not hit and he should have landed the shot. As for Chen Xiao, he casually caught the bullet fired by Zhao Qian, remarking that he would keep it since it could sell for good money. Zhao Qian sneered, saying, "So, you are an awakened. You used this same trick earlier to block that trash's superpower attack." Then, Chen Xiao declared in a cold tone, "It is time to bring this circus to an end." Zhao Qian showed no fear, smugly mocking Chen Xiao's words. "Oh yes, it is indeed time to end this little show." Chen Xiao watched with absolute shock at the sight before him. Zhao Qian was injecting a strange, glowing liquid directly into his own body. As a violent surge of raw power erupted, he gloated arrogantly. "Did you really think I came here completely unprepared?" With just one look, Chen Xiao recognized the substance. It was the drug developed by Lin Guodong. Suddenly, Zhao Qian lunged at Chen Xiao, laughing maniacally as he screamed, "This immunity-boosting drug cost me a fortune. Now, go die." Watching Chen Xiao retreat without launching a counterattack, he bragged, "Seems like you struggle with dealing with fast opponents, do you not?" He grabbed Chen Xiao tightly and leapt over the railing, shouting, "Let us go to hell together." Zhao Qian wanted to take Chen Xiao down with him. "Do you know how long I have waited for this day? A guy like me, from a poor rural background, who got into a prestigious university solely by memorizing test answers, could never hope to compete with those privileged, high society academic elites." He screamed in pure hatred. "My hard research was stolen from me. My entire youth was completely wasted, and this cruel world never gave me a single chance to turn my life around." Just when all hope seemed lost, the apocalypse hit, giving him the ultimate power play. When this extreme high-temperature disaster struck, The playing field was finally reset, but who would have thought it would all be ruined by Chen Xiao? You destroyed everything I built. You deserve to die. Zhao Qian's frantic screaming irritated Chen Xiao, who snapped back. You are so loud. The only one who deserves to die is you. He immediately opened his system menu. A notification flashed on screen. New skill unlocked. Space leap. In a split second, Chen Xiao vanished. This mind-blowing sight left Zhao Qian completely stunned, unable to believe his eyes. What? Ultimately, Zhao Qian met a brutal end while Chen Xiao remained completely unscathed, calling him a pathetic soul who unfortunately ran into them. The onlookers pointed in terror, screaming in absolute black magic. He is a demon. Ignoring the hysterical crowd, Chen Xiao calmly slipped his hands into his pockets and walked away. He strolled over to where Lin Jing lay unconscious. After a quick check, he saw no bleeding. She had just fainted from exhaustion and shock. Without a single moment of hesitation, Chen Xiao pulled out a bottle of water. A man in the crowd spotted this and shrieked, "You are not allowed to save her. You are nothing but a devil too." Blinded by her fanatical belief in Zhao Qian's godhood, Lu Yun immediately passed judgment on Chen Xiao and Lin Jing. If she had not showed up, Lord Zhao Qian would still be alive. This wicked woman must have cast a spell on our Lord Zhao Qian. Seeing her block his way, Chen Xiao warned coldly, "I suggest you do not get in my way." Right at that moment, another old man stepped up aggressively and shouted, "Stubborn fool, let us cleanse your corrupt soul with our sacred hymns." An entire mob of brainwashed followers, they locked hands in unity and raised their voices together in song. "Hear our praise, thank the Lord, for the Lord nourishes the earth." One brave old man even dared to shove his face right up to Chen Xiao's, singing loudly to purify him. This ridiculous display left him completely speechless. Yet the old geezer kept belting out, "Thank the Lord, for the Lord makes the earth beautiful." Annoyed by the irritating noise buzzing in his ears, Chen Xiao immediately sent these fools on their way to the afterlife. After hydrating and restoring Lin Jing's minerals to wake her up, she looked around in total confusion and muttered, "Just now, Chen Xiao calmly said, "You were too weak. Drink this if you want to live." Yet, even in this mess, Lin Jing was still worried about Zhao Qian. What about Zhao Qian? Chen Xiao did not sugarcoat it. He is dead. Feeling a rare spark of pity, Chen Xiao offered her one last look at him. But right then, Ling cried out in absolute panic, "Grandmother!" Her scream immediately drew the attention of Lin Jing and Chen Xiao. It turned out Liu Yun could not accept that her beloved god was a total fraud. "It is all a lie. There is no god. What do I have left to believe in?" With those final words, she threw herself off the edge. Ling screamed, desperately trying to grab her. But Chen Xiao quickly held the young girl back. She never imagined her grandmother would choose to end it all. Heartbroken, she clung tightly to Chen Xiao. Seeing her pain, he gently whispered her name. After crying her eyes out, Ling finally managed to dry her tears. Showing incredible strength, she told them not to worry. Her grandmother chose to trust those fools, throwing away her own life and almost sacrificing her too. "I will not end up like her. I am going to survive." By late afternoon, Lin Jing sat silently on the living room sofa. She sadly confessed the reason she ever helped Zhao Qian, admitting she honestly believed he was her savior. He only wanted to use her, forcing her to do horrible things. Worse, he feared and envied her power because she had actually managed to awaken her abilities. Thinking back, Zhao Qian had always glared at her with pure, jealous hatred in his voice. Damn it. Why was she the one to awaken powers instead of me? Lin Jing finished, falling silent. Hearing this, Chen Xiao could only sigh. First, Gao Wen could not fit into academia, and even after him, they still failed to awaken. Dying with nothing but bitter resentment made him a pathetic soul. Lin Jing then sincerely thanked Chen Xiao for his timely help. "Thank you. To be honest, I was always terrified. I wanted to help, but instead, I ended up hurting everyone." Suddenly, Ling chimed in. "But sister, Lin Jing, you are so kind and beautiful, yet that absolute scumbag still targeted you anyway." This comment triggered a memory for Lin Jing. Could those strange rumors actually be true? It turned out she had heard whispers about Zhao Qian's actual romantic preferences. Whispers said he was secretly gay, but she quickly shook off the creepy thought. Frankly, Chen Xiao could not care less about that drama. Right now, he was focused on one thing only. There could never be a second Zhao Qian in this place. Simply staying passive was no longer enough to survive in this brutal, chaotic world. He had to take absolute control of this entire territory. Shortly after, he stood before the gathered residents and made a sudden announcement. Zhao Qian was dead. But the massive water supply he hoarded is still here. Since I single-handedly crushed this cult, I have every right to keep it all for myself. He then added a crucial condition. However, if you all follow my rules, I will share it with you. The crowd erupted in pure joy, shouting, "Really? Thank you, Lord Chen Xiao." But watching this, Shi Hang was completely baffled by his move. What was he plotting? Naturally, Chen Xiao kept his grand plans entirely to himself. A dark, cunning smile crept onto his face. Later, at the main entrance, a massive warning sign read, "Building sealed off. Unauthorized entry. Strictly prohibited." Meanwhile, Chen Xiao was busy handling some business with the remaining residents. Is this layout okay? It turned out Chen Xiao was holding official property transfer agreements in his hand. Clutching the signed papers, he smiled. "Pleasure doing business. Go get yourself some fresh water now." Watching the relieved residents leave, Shi Hang whispered in shock. "Wait, are you trying to take over this entire building?" Chen Xiao simply smirked. "Exactly. A single safe house is not enough. I am going to convert this whole building into my ultimate fortress." In his past life, air temperatures hit 56 degrees Celsius, and the ground baked at 78 degrees. Massive skyscrapers literally crumbled to pieces. Somewhere inside, a hand pressed against the window glass as Chen Xiao stared out, utterly unable to believe his eyes. How is this possible? Even he had not anticipated that concrete structures would fail so quickly under this heat. After standing in silence to analyze the situation, he realized the second brutal heat wave was coming much sooner than expected. It was going to be absolute hell. Temperatures would soar far beyond anything they were currently experiencing. The structural steel inside these massive high-rises would eventually soften and collapse. That is why reinforcing this entire building was a non-negotiable step. Luckily, the residents fully trusted his judgment. After weighing their limited options, they all agreed to hand over their units. A few days later, a special news broadcast detailed the extreme temperatures, claiming the grueling 30-day heat wave was finally starting to ease up. However, this relief was purely temporary. Another deadly spike was predicted, and citizens were urged to prepare. Listening to the broadcast, Chen Xiao merely chuckled. Let the world hope for a slow recovery. He knew better. Strolling through the Luocheng neighborhood, he smiled. At least they could enjoy this brief break. Outside, relieved residents were finally walking the streets again. Chen Xiao hadn't felt this relaxed in forever. It felt like a whole year since he last stepped outside to breathe in some fresh air. This window was perfect for Chen Xiao's master plan. Especially now that the extreme heat had temporarily cooled down, it was the ideal time to fortify the building. But first, he had some urgent matters to take care of. Returning home shortly after, Chen Xiao found Ling happily munching on snacks on the sofa. Seeing her so relaxed, he couldn't help but ask when she was planning to leave. Ling just casually smirked and turned the question right back at him, asking if he really wanted her gone. Before he could answer, she suddenly snapped her fingers, and a quick spark of electricity instantly fried a nearby mosquito. Looking down at the dead bug, she calmly noted that he definitely needed her power, adding how massive that mosquito was. Chen Xiao couldn't deny it, silently noting that his generators required a massive amount of fuel. Since solar panels struggled in extreme heat, having someone who could actually generate electricity was an absolute lifesaver. After a brief silence, he gave in and let her stay as long as she wanted. Hearing this, Ling immediately rushed to check on Lin Jing. She announced she was checking on Lin Jing, prompting Chen Xiao to shout after her to wait up. Ultimately, he didn't stop her and slowly followed behind, deciding to check on the situation himself as well. Lin Jing's ability to forcefully lower temperatures was an incredibly precious asset in this sweltering apocalyptic world. That was exactly why he had moved her into this building, to easily utilize and protect her gift. Suddenly, Ling stopped, realizing she had forgotten the housewarming gift. Chen Xiao watched in disbelief as she ran back to grab it, sighing at her antics. A moment later, he approached Lin Jing's door and gave it a gentle knock. Surprised to find the door unlocked, he pushed it open just as Lin Jing stepped out, fresh from the shower and wrapped in a towel. The sight left Chen Xiao completely frozen. Shocked by his sudden presence, Lin Jing screamed and called him a total pervert. Startled by her shriek, he panicked and yelled back, defending himself because she had left her door wide open. Lin Jing snapped back that he hadn't even given her the keys yet. To avoid looking like a creep, Chen Xiao quickly stepped outside to wait for her to get dressed. Once inside, he asked if she regretted moving here, even though he was the one who had invited her. He didn't beat around the bush, asking if she was worried he would turn into another Zhao Gan. Lin Jing replied that she knew he wanted to use her powers for his own benefit, but she believed he would still maintain some boundaries. Hearing this, Chen Xiao simply smiled, remarking that no one could ever truly predict the future. Just then, Ling finally made it up to the door. Seeing Chen Xiao standing outside, she asked him what on earth he was doing. Over the following days, the three of them formed a tight-knit squad. Together, Lin Jing and Chen Xiao took charge of distributing the water they had previously collected. Looking at her, Chen Xiao realized this duty was more than just work for Lin Jing. It was her way of seeking redemption. 7 days after the extreme heat wave subsided in Luocheng district, bright daylight washed over the towering apartment complex. Right outside the building's entrance, 2 burly men stood on guard duty, keeping a watchful eye. Inside, the second floor housed Mr. Wang and Lin Jing, while Mu Kang and Li Yu occupied the 3rd floor. Mu Kang relaxed in bed, happily enjoying the air conditioning, while the 4th floor served as Ling's new living quarters. Hands deep in his pockets, Chen Xiao stood on his balcony, staring down at the streets below while quietly calculating his next move. Even though he had used the cooler weather to overhaul the building's internal power grid, the sheer resources required to build a flawless defense system were far beyond any normal survivor's reach. With his budget running tight, he pondered his next step. Just then, he spotted a group of 5 suspicious thugs, gathered right outside. One of the thugs with a buzz cut quickly reported to his boss. He mentioned the massive water supply here, and how one guy controlled the entire building. The boss scoffed, surprised that anyone in Luocheng could be so arrogant. Frowning deeply, the boss snapped, "Why should we even care? We just take what is ours." A brief moment later, all 5 thugs were beaten senseless, groaning on the dirt. Chen Xiao casually massaged his wrists. He knew that, as temperatures dropped, crime would inevitably spike. More criminals were traveling across provinces, and now, dangerous factions from outside territories were beginning to arrive. After establishing his absolute dominance multiple times, even the most ruthless out-of-town gangs learned to steer clear of his territory. Meanwhile, inside the government's temporary command center, a group of officers gathered before a massive screen. A high-ranking commander studied the display, noting that while Luocheng fell into chaos, this single neighborhood remained surprisingly peaceful. He tilted his head, giving a sharp order to the subordinate standing right next to him. "That is where the cult was wiped out before. Check it." Soldier A reported, standing at attention. "Understood, sir, but given our current situation, we cannot afford to interfere in these local gang disputes." The military commander spoke grimly. "No. My gut tells me this is not going to be that simple." He clasped his hands behind his back, analyzing the situation as the scorching heat disrupted daily life. But this tiny town of Luocheng hides far more bizarre secrets than anyone could ever imagine. Secrets all shrouded deeply in the shadows. Just as the commander finished, the female technician sitting in front spun around to call him out. "Commander, the video is restored. You need to see this." She clicked, playing the footage right on the screen. This was the actual footage recorded during the fatal incident at the Luocheng church. As a man plummeted from the high floor on screen, someone gasped. In that exact moment, Chen Xiao vanished. The video froze on Chen Xiao standing calmly on the rooftop. A shocked voice gasped. "Wait. What? He survived without a scratch and just stood there?" The commander barked a direct order to investigate him immediately. His subordinates saluted in unison. By nightfall, a heavy military squad gathered right outside the Luocheng residential complex. A soldier raised his hand, confirming they locked onto the target building. The squad leader ordered the electric traps deployed around it. Within moments, the strike team was stacked up right outside the target apartment door. A gloved hand tapped rapidly on the electronic lock panel. A digital beep confirmed the security was bypassed. Gripping their weapons tightly, the soldiers kicked the room door wide open with brutal force. But the lead soldier froze instantly, completely stunned by the sight. Little A Ling stood all alone in the living room, turning her head toward the noise to look at the heavily armed soldiers with pure, innocent eyes. Rubbing her sleepy, watery eyes, A Ling mumbled, wondering if gaming too much made her hallucinate. One soldier muttered, bewildered, "Why on earth is there a little girl in here?" His partner warned, "Secure her first, just in case." Suddenly, A Ling's eyes flared with blinding light as she thought, making a racket at midnight? A blinding beam of pure energy blasted out of the apartment, followed by terrified screams. Ever heard of manners? As the light faded, A Ling looked down at the soldiers groaning on the floor, scratching her head. "Oh boy, hope they were not government guys. Well, at least they cannot lock me up again." Chen Xiao stepped out of his bedroom, rubbing his sleepy eyes, and asked, "What is all this noise at midnight?" He frowned at Ling. Wait, why are you still not home yet? Ling's face fell. With a forced, joyless smile, she mumbled, I think we might be in some deep trouble. Chen Xiao's eyes went wide as he blurted out a curse. What the hell? 30 minutes later, after the squad went silent, dozens of tanks completely surrounded the building entrance, while a military helicopter circled menacingly in the dark sky. The commander leaned out of his tank, raising a massive megaphone to blast a loud warning. Chen Xiao, drop your weapons and release my men immediately, or we will breach this building by force. Up on the third floor, Mu Kang lay in bed. Hearing the commotion, he sat up, wondering what the noise was. Stepping over to his window, several bright green spotlight beams from outside flashed directly into his eyes. He peered down, took in the massive blockade below, and gasped in pure shock. What the hell? Is that the army? Meanwhile, Lin Jing opened her bedroom window to check out the chaos. What is going on out there? Mr. Wang stared down at the active blockade with a deep frown, wondering why the military had arrived. Just then, a harsh voice blared through the building's speakers. All residents, remain inside your rooms. Back in the apartment, a calm Chen Xiao told the others. Let me handle this. He pushed the main building doors open and walked right out, facing the massive army waiting outside. Looking completely relaxed, Chen Xiao asked. Breaking into my home in the dead of night? Care to explain? The commander climbed down from his tank to stand face to face with him. Chen Xiao, we saw the heavenly church footage. He sternly continued. The records are clear. Then, the commander pressed further, asking, do you have superpowers? It seems those wild rumors about superpowered humans were actually true. Chen Xiao just stared back in silence, with zero intention of replying. The commander tried to negotiate, calling his rare power highly valuable, especially during these crazy times. If you cooperate and come with us for testing, we can let tonight's incident slide. Chen Xiao smirked, shooting back. Research? You want to turn me into a lab rat? He tilts his head, bluntly declaring, sorry, but I have absolutely no interest in that. Shoving a hand into his pocket, the military officer sneers. Is that so? He squints threateningly, adding, I am not asking for your opinion. I am simply informing you. Chen Xiao frowns and coldly replies, same answer, and I will not repeat myself. The military officer raises his arm to the sky, shouting the command to fire. Instantly, a massive hail of bullets erupts, flying straight ahead. A glowing protective barrier wraps around Chen Xiao, deflecting every single incoming bullet right back in their direction. The soldiers watch this play out, completely stunned. What? How is this even possible? Chen Xiao waves his hand forward, saying, here, I am returning these to you. Suddenly, a massive black sphere appears in the sky. A beam of destructive energy shoots from the sphere, hitting the military helicopter. A massive explosion tears through the air. The entire sky turns bright orange and red. Down on the ground, the shockwave leaves the soldiers struggling to stand. The officer struggles to stand, looking up to ask, is this another one of your powers? Staring at Chen Xiao's glowing red eyes across from him, he admits, I knew attacking you would be useless, but I never expected you to be this strong. Chen Xiao coldly warns, next time, my targets will be people, sweating bullets. The officer tries to reason with him again. Chen Xiao, we admit defeat, but you must understand, the weather reports are in. This extreme heat wave is just the beginning. He adds as a reminder, next time, it will get much worse. Chen Xiao replies with pure disdain. I already knew that. The officer quickly points out, when that time comes, we will desperately need people like you. Honestly, humanity's very survival might depend on your actions. Chen Xiao closes his eyes, flatly rejecting the idea. I am no hero, and certainly not some grand savior. Anyone who disturbs my peace gets eliminated. Staring at the officer in front of him, he delivers a final verdict. Besides, the world is entering a lawless era. I have absolutely no reason to fear the military. Chen Xiao mentions a condition. Spotting a sudden ray of hope, the military officer eagerly presses for details. What is it? Chen Xiao makes his offer. Agree to one condition, and I might consider giving you some help. The military officer answers without a single moment of hesitation. Name it. As long as you partner with us for the long haul, we will agree to your terms. Chen Xiao lays out his demand. I want you to use military resources to transform my entire building. He concludes with a final condition. Turn it into a doomsday fortress. By the next morning, the military vehicles from the night before gather in an empty lot near his apartment. Soon, even more heavy-duty military trucks arrive, loaded with specialized equipment to join the massive fleet. With his hands behind his back, the officer announces to his crew, We officially begin construction today. He seriously explains that because some of the equipment involves highly classified military secrets, they will prefabricate the core modules at their base first, then transport them here for final assembly. Chen Xiao squints, calmly replying, "No problem." The officer then turns his gaze toward Du, looking curious. "May I ask who she is?" Chen Xiao glances at the girl behind him and answers, "Do not worry about her. She is just a resident here, acting as my secretary today." The officer turns around, waving his hand to declare, "In that case, the fortress renovation project officially begins." Next up, pulling out a physical paper blueprint, he gestures as a massive yellow crane uses heavy ropes to lift solar panels up to the top floor. The officer begins breaking down his plan. Phase 1. A high-efficiency military-grade solar power system. He boasts with supreme confidence. The durability is over 10 times stronger than your original setup. Plus, the energy storage and heat conversion efficiency are 3 times better than any standard solar panels. Chen Xiao rubs his chin, muttering, "Actually quite interesting. Make sure to write that down." Behind him, Du focuses on taking notes in her book. The officer continues his pitch. Phase 2. A top-tier military-grade backup generator system. Crossing his arms and closing his eyes, he boasts, "Even through consecutive rainy days, this keeps the whole building running. Here are the specs." He keeps listing them off. Phase 3. Installing a heavy-duty protective layer on the exterior. He waves his hand, promising bulletproof, fireproof, and heat-resistant armor so tough it would make anyone shudder. Watching the officer grin ear to ear, Chen Xiao and Du exchange a look, silently wondering why this guy seems far more excited about this than they are. But the officer is far from done, rattling off even more upgrades. Phase 4. Reinforced blast doors and gates. Phase 5. An automated target recognition defense system. On Friday, looking at the independent satellite information module, Mr. Wang listens to the project details, frowns, and exclaims, "My God, this lineup is absolutely massive." Down in the yard, Ah Ling looks excitedly at the person standing before her, thrilled that they are finally turning into a real secret base. Lin Jing looks up at the massive building, lost in thought, feeling as if she is living in a dream. Upstairs, sweat beads on Mu Kang's face as he peers out the window, keeping a close eye on the construction happening below. Inside the laboratory, the female doctor reports that his temperature, heart rate, and cell activity are vastly superior to any normal human. The male doctor chimes in with an assessment, noting that his body seems to be going through a prolonged adaptation to some external environment. The military officer scowls, demanding they speak like normal people. Pushing up her glasses, the female doctor adds another theory. "Right now, we believe this disaster is not just about extreme temperatures. It is abnormal solar activity, combined with mysterious magnetic interference in our orbital path." She explains that this bizarre energy is actively mutating Earth's living organisms. Under the intense pressure of these extreme conditions, certain human bodies. Finally, the male doctor standing nearby speaks up, delivering the ultimate punchline. "Basically, this is the superpower awakening you keep talking about." This leaves the military officer deeply worried. If mutations are spreading, humans won't be the only one. Turning to the young man standing near the door, he asks, "You don't seem to care, and you definitely aren't afraid." Chen Xiao smirks and fires back, "Why should I be? It is not like I am the only awakened human out there." Startled by this casual revelation, the military officer quickly presses him for answers. "Are you saying there are other awakened humans? Have you actually met them?" Shoving his hands into his pockets, Chen Xiao steps closer and casually shrugs, deciding it is fine to share. "There is this faction of awakened calling themselves the Ark, and they are actively recruiting others, but I had zero interest in their little club, so I turned them down." The military officer narrows his eyes. He realizes that, besides the army, a completely different faction is actively targeting this kid, meaning he is incredibly valuable. Meanwhile, in another room, a female soldier stares intently at her computer screen. She cannot shake the feeling that she has seen this face somewhere before. The screen displays a security feed of Chen Xiao and Mu Kang standing together in a quiet corner of the stairwell. She clicks her mouse, zooming in tightly on Mu Kang's face. "Hold on, is this?" Her eyes widen in shock as she stares intensely at the screen. A classified military file on Mu Kang flashes vividly in her mind, labeling him a high-risk runaway traitor from the Ministry of Military Affairs. Outside the military facility, the courtyard is completely deserted as dry leaves swirl in the cold wind. Inside, the male doctor studies the complex data charts on the wall. His cellular activity is still rapidly climbing without limit, A nearby soldier whispers in awe. Is this what an awakened body looks like? Meanwhile, Chen Xiao sits leisurely on a desk and calls out to them. Impressive, isn't it? The military officer responds. We've gathered enough data for now. Step over here. Shoving a hand into his pocket, Chen Xiao stands up. In that case, I'm heading home. The officer nods easily. All right, I'll have someone drive you back. But right then, the phone in his hand suddenly erupts with a loud ring. Pressing the phone to his ear, the military officer snaps a brief hello. Within seconds, whatever the caller says on the other end makes his expression turn incredibly grim. Hanging up the phone, the officer immediately stops the young man. Hold on. Chen Xiao. Shoving the phone screen directly in front of the kid's face, he asks if he recognizes the man. Chen Xiao looks at the mugshot on the file, reading the name underneath. Mu Kang, high-risk missing military traitor. He frowns, realizing it is definitely Mu Kang, but the vibe this picture gives off is completely different from the guy he knows. The military officer cuts straight to the chase. I'm not going to play games with you. This man is a military fugitive, and we have proof that you've been entering and leaving the exact same building with him. His eyes grow cold as he demands, is he hiding in your building right now? Hand him over to me immediately. Do this, Chen Xiao, and I'll handle the rest. I can guarantee that you and your friends will remain completely safe. Staring him down, Chen Xiao doesn't flinch. Instead, he simply retorts, do you honestly think that is going to happen? The officer's voice drops, turning dead. I don't want to fight you, but orders are orders. I'm taking him in. And if you don't comply, you aren't leaving here today. The moment he says this, two armed soldiers step out from the shadows, raising their weapons to completely corner Chen Xiao. With a casual wave of his hand, a swirling black portal rips open behind Chen Xiao. It looks like the negotiations are officially over. Leaving them with those final words, Chen Xiao and the dark portal slowly dissolve into thin air. Gritting his teeth in pure rage, the military officer growls. Damn it, he escaped. Sweat dripping down his face, a nearby soldier frantically asks, what should we do, Commander? Grimacing, the military instructor barks out orders to halt Chen Xiao's fortress renovation plan and mobilize all armed forces. He fiercely declares they must take down Chen Xiao and capture the fleeing criminal. Over at the building in the Luocheng residential complex, Mr. Wang looks out the window, deeply worried. Why did the work outside suddenly stop? In another room, Mu Kang chambers around in his gun, thinking, I have a really bad feeling about this. Sensing danger, he quickly turns his head to look outside. They are already here. Right outside the window glass, two fully geared soldiers with rappelling cables and heavy weapons have suddenly appeared out of absolutely nowhere. One of the soldiers reaches out, lightly tapping on the glass pane to test it. Instantly, a warning screen flashes. Damage detected on the building structure, activating the automatic defense system. Left with no clue, the two soldiers just stare at each other in utter confusion. Before they can even react, a massive electric shock surges directly from the window, sending both soldiers into absolute agony as they scream out. Hearing those agonizing screams from another room, Lin Jing tenses up, curiously wondering what on earth is going on outside. In a panic, she tries with all her might to pull the window open, but it will not budge at all. Suddenly, a cold automated announcement echoes through the room. Defense mechanism initiated. Please remain inside and await further instructions. Over on his side, Mr. Wang hears the broadcast too, asking on high alert, what is going on? Beside him, Ling grabs his arm and begs, Mr. Wang, quickly hide inside. Down below, a squad of heavily armed soldiers is relentlessly unleashing a hail of gunfire. A massive explosion rips through the building entrance, filling the air with thick smoke. Hiding under a table, Mr. Wang asks in disbelief, why are they doing this? Just a moment ago, those soldiers were helping us fix our place. Ling guesses that something terrible must have happened with Chen Xiao. Cold sweat pours down both of their faces as the overwhelming tension completely takes over. Down on the ground, a terrified soldier collapses backward in sheer panic, dropping his weapon right beside him. Chen Xiao suddenly appears right before them, and someone cries out in sheer panic. It is Chen Xiao. The massive rumbling outside sends residents rushing to their windows to see. What's that noise? Are they fighting? One young man spots the threat and screams in sheer terror. It is the military. The East Building is completely surrounded. Meanwhile, inside the East Building, a furious figure growls under his breath. They dare launch a sneak attack on my complex? Then, they can expect absolutely no mercy. Over the radio, an officer barks orders to his subordinates, telling them to cease fire. Inside the military base, the government commander loudly demands restraint, reminding them this is a residential zone and innocent people must not be harmed. Next, he issues a direct threat to the apartment owner, Chen Xiao. If you stubbornly continue to shelter this fugitive, I might not force you, but I will withdraw every single military. When that happens, it is only a matter of time before your complex collapses under this brutal heat. Right then, Chen Xiao stands calmly on the building roof. Showing no fear, he smirks and asks if they really thought he could not predict their move. Right then, he pulls a massive pile of supplies out of thin air, staring at the massive cargo. Mr. Wang asks in utter shock, how did all of this giant gear suddenly appear? Ling does not care what is inside the crates, completely mesmerized by how cool it looks. But unlike these two who have absolutely no idea, the military instructor recognizes the equipment instantly and screams in sheer panic. Those are structural upgrade parts. When on earth did you get those? Chen Xiao leaps down from above, casually explaining that since their supplies were right next to the hospital, he simply grabbed them while passing by. He calmly points out that he secured the materials himself. This is my rightful share, and I will handle the rest. His bold terms leave the soldiers completely stunned, finding it all too chaotic. The commander knows very well that he cannot go toe-to-toe with Chen Xiao. This is the power of spatial ability, lethal in combat and unparalleled for strategic supply transport. Yet, the stubborn commander is still determined to play a high-stakes game. Chen Xiao, let me remind you once more, the temperature is going to keep rising. He grits his teeth, emphasizing every word, warning that the entire city will inevitably collapse. He warns of absolute citywide chaos, deadly fires, violent riots, and the threat of foreign factions already infiltrating the borders, plotting to steal their nation's most valuable resources. Chen Xiao's face darkens as he listens in tense silence. The commander's voice continues to echo, declaring that in order to combat all these threats and protect the safety of the citizens, the government is launching an unprecedented, massive survival project. He is referring to the Shangguan Project. Chen Xiao mutters the name, completely baffled by what it means. The Shangguan Project. Inside the room, Mu Kang hears every single word from outside, repeating the name with intense curiosity. According to the details shared by the commander, it involves a multi-layered insulation structure, sealing the entire city deep underground. Down there, citizens can only catch glimpses of the sky through a massive domed ceiling. They plan to build a massive insulated underground city where the entire nation can survive. The commander is extremely proud of this grand blueprint. The survivors will still see the sky and the sun, but actually breathing the outside air or touching real sunlight is completely out of the question. Returning to the surface is strictly forbidden. To make matters worse, they are running out of time to pull this off. It is a massive project with a razor-thin deadline. A literal race against time. But for the sake of survival, they have no other choice but to proceed. That is why this high-ranking military officer desperately needs help from Chen Xiao. Chen Xiao, this project desperately needs your spatial abilities. If you join us, our chances of success will instantly double. Chen Xiao stays silent for a moment, processing everything. He then sighs wearily, muttering that it all sounds like a massive pain. Those words catch the officer completely off guard. Troublesome? Before he can even react, Chen Xiao fires back with an annoyed look. First, you try to arrest my crew, and now you want my favors? Talk about a massive double standard. Disgusted by their hypocrisy, he bluntly orders them out. You roll up in armored vehicles, pointing guns right at my face, and call this asking for help? Give me a break. Don't mess with me, and I won't mess with you. Now beat it before I tear your entire headquarters to the ground. Knowing he has no leverage, the commander backs off. He tells Chen Xiao to cool down for a few days, promising they will return when the time is right. With a simple order to retreat, the soldiers march out. Watching them leave, Lin Jing speaks up, asking if the danger has finally passed. As the heavy engines fade, Mu Kang frowns in deep thought, wondering if Wu Xiaotian and his crew have really crossed the line this time. Late into the night, Chen Xiao sits quietly in his living room, waiting for a specific guest. Suddenly, a violent pounding echoes at the front door. Knowing exactly who it is, Chen Xiao coldly welcomes him inside. Mu Kang steps through the door and gets straight to the point, promising to lay out all the facts. Chen Xiao sits back casually, ready to hear the whole story from start to finish. Mu Kang confesses his past, revealing he used to work for the Military Armament Bureau. This shocking admission barely registers on Chen Xiao, who already figured it out. It all started during a standard military deployment back when Mu Kang was still on active duty. He stumbled upon a highly classified shipment of weapons diverted for an illegal trade. These were definitely not your standard issues. One look at the cargo left him completely frozen in absolute disbelief, It was ultra-advanced tech, designed specifically to withstand extreme heat. Knowing it was bound for a foreign nation, he did not hesitate to report the treasonous smuggling operation immediately. He wanted to expose the entire conspiracy, but the corrupt brass turned the tables on Mu Kang, framing him as a dirty deserter. Instead of a promotion, he became a wanted fugitive. Fleeing for his life, he grabbed as much gear as he could carry, and that is exactly how he ended up black marketing high-grade weapons. Listening quietly, Chen Xiao finally connects all the dots. He points out that the smuggled gear is likely the heart of the mysterious Firmament project. Seeing that the truth is already out, Mu Kang prepares to share the rest of his secrets. Just as he is about to reveal the dark details of the Firmament project, Chen Xiao cuts him off. "Hold on," Chen Xiao suddenly warns in a low voice. He rushes over to the window, leaving Mu Kang completely confused about what is going on. Peering outside with a cold expression, Chen Xiao warns that they are currently being watched. Sure enough, a shadow stands motionless in the courtyard below, none other than the deadly agent, Elisa. Seeing her ghost-like presence instantly sends a shiver down Mu Kang's spine. How on earth did she bypass the high-tech security system without tripping a single alarm? Who is this mysterious intruder? After analyzing the situation, Chen Xiao decides to handle it personally, instantly teleporting right down into the courtyard. The moment he appears, Elisa greets him with a smug grin, mocking that they finally meet face to face. She laughs at his supposedly state-of-the-art security, calling it a total joke. But Chen Xiao does not even bother reacting to her cheap insults. He simply demands to know her identity. Instead of answering, she calmly starts listing highly confidential details about the young man standing before her. Chen Xiao, 22 years old, an only child born and raised in Los Angeles, dropped out of college to start working right after high school. Am I right? Hearing his entire life story read back to him does not faze Chen Xiao one bit. So what? Now, it is her turn to introduce herself. She claims her name is Elisa, and that she understands him better than any military force ever could. Losing his patience with her mind games, he snaps back, pointing out how easy it is to dig up data in this day and age. He wants to know her real motive right now. Unbothered by his rising anger, she calmly explains she is not there to fight. She even commends him for building his own underground survival shelter, calling it a smart move. She drops a cryptic question, asking how long a simple shelter can survive in this brutal apocalypse. Then, she brings up the ultimate secret, asking if he already knows about the massive Firmament project, a massive operation with the power to change the very destiny of humanity. This is a massive project that could alter the very fate of humanity. Hearing this, Chen Xiao instantly realized what Elisa was up to. He smirked and replied, "Is that so? Sounds great then." But Elisa was playing a far deeper game. She then dropped a total bombshell that shelter plan could only save a tiny fraction of the population. This left Chen Xiao stunned. What? Elisa was casually spilling top-secret details about the project. There had to be a catch, right? How could an underground bunker fit everyone? It wouldn't even have enough space for the population of Great Britain alone. So, once this project is complete, a brutal process of natural selection is bound to happen. The weak and poor will be the very first ones left behind to die. Chen Xiao listened, then bluntly asked, "So what? What does this have to do with you visiting me?" Without hesitating, Elisa made her pitch. "Work with us. With Country M. Only Country M has the power to save all of humanity from this apocalypse, leaving no one behind. We are the saviors." Naturally, these dramatic words were exactly what Chen Xiao expected to hear. Elisa kept a serious face, laying out the perks of joining her side. "I am here as the official representative of Country M. We know the military invited you to the Sky Canopy project. We have the resources, tech, and intelligence. I need you to secretly feed us all the details on that project." Chen Xiao listened, then asked her point blank, "So you want me to turn traitor?" Naturally, Elisa had no issues throwing in even sweeter bribes. "This is about saving all of humanity. Don't you understand? We will give you everything you want, wealth, status." She even offered herself as a prize, whispering, "Including me." That made Chen Xiao smile. Wow, sounds incredibly tempting, doesn't it? Thinking he had finally taken the bait, Elisa smiled with absolute satisfaction. "I love smart men who know what is good for them. Let us have some fun tonight." But instead, Chen Xiao coldly slapped her hand away and barked, "I do not play the role of a pawn." This harsh rejection made Elisa's face instantly darken as she cursed under her breath. Without a second thought, she whipped out a gun, aiming straight at Chen Xiao. In the quiet night, Elisa unleashed a hail of gunfire at Chen Xiao. Unfazed, He casually activated his power, stopping the bullets in midair. He let out a mocking laugh. Is that all you have got? Facing his insane strength, Elisa did not even flinch, calling it a classic space ability. And this was my plan all along. Turns out, her real goal was to analyze and copy his spatial powers. Looking at the massive readings on her scanner, she could not help but gasp at his raw energy. Chen Xiao flashed a devious grin. That raid on the cult really paid off, giving me a massive boost to my spatial powers. The day he exposed Zhao Qian, he farmed endless negative energy from the crowd. Fear, despair, panic plus 999 points. Elisa was completely hooked by his potential. What an incredible power. But then, Chen Xiao's smile turned utterly wicked as he muttered, "Too bad I hate spied on." Instantly, Elisa's smug look shattered, replaced by sheer, bone-chilling terror. She could only stutter as his overwhelming power locked her down. Glowing red eyes and fanged, monstrous jaws materialized from the shadows, ready to tear her apart. The horrifying sight sent her collapsing to her knees, shaking. Chen Xiao looked down, coldly giving her a warning. Snooping into other people's business is a very bad habit. Humiliated and terrified, Elisa could only scream out in pure rage. Cursing, she realized she stood no chance. She slammed a smoke bomb down and fled into the dark. But before escaping, she threw a final threat over her shoulder. "Chen Xiao, we will definitely meet again." Having his secret powers exposed definitely did not sit well with him. Chen Xiao knew his quiet days were officially over. From here on, trouble would follow him like a shadow. Sure enough, the very next morning, a deafening rumble woke the apartment block, leaving everyone confused. What was that crazy noise? What is happening? Down in the courtyard, a massive piledriver and heavy machinery had arrived. The construction workers looked at the bizarre materials, wondering what on earth they were building. Du did not bother explaining. She just barked orders to the crew, telling them to stop asking questions and get to work. Watching her take charge, Chen Xiao was impressed. A true genius student, picking it up so fast. Soon, the ultimate doomsday fortress was finally complete. Staring at his finished masterpiece, Chen Xiao smirked. It was finally done. He could not wait to unleash its defense systems. Meanwhile, inside a luxurious, sprawling mansion, a figure was kneeling on the cold floor. Elisa gave her report to the mysterious boss master. The recruitment failed. The shadow leader simply offered a cold, unimpressed grunt. Wan Qing, standing by his side, scoffed. "I told you already, you cannot reason with someone like him. Just kill him, and be done with it." The master kept his cool, his voice slow and calm. "I might not belong to this nation, but I do adore this place." Clearly, he saw massive potential in what Chen Xiao could offer. The survivors here were sharp and highly capable, and Chen Xiao was no exception. But Chen Xiao's blatant refusal had deeply annoyed the professor. To him, an unaligned genius was the ultimate threat, yet simply putting a bullet in his head felt far too easy. Hearing those cold words, Elisa immediately understood exactly what her master was planning to do. Her master slowly licked his lips in sick anticipation, whispering that he would make the boy die a very amusing death.